Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. North American stock futures back to the downside ever so slightly this morning, coming off multiple record-setting performances last week. We had optimism surrounding the start of Q1 earnings reporting season, specifically from some of the big banks that kicked things off last week. Better than expected results right across the board. We had the S&P and the Dow up 1.38% on the week last week, and 1.18% respectively, I should say. The NASDAQ was higher for the third week in a row as well, even with early weakness we saw to begin last week. As I mentioned, big banks were in focus to kick things off last week. This week, we'll get 10 Dow components and 72 S&P 500 components reporting throughout the week. Among those, Coca-Cola, IBM, United Airlines, all set to report today. Individually, we're watching crypto stocks this morning after the weekend sell-off we saw in Bitcoin and coin as well, down in the pre-market as expected with that move. It's Monday, April 19th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, that's the story at this point. So far, we're negative, but only just a 0.25% for the S&P, 0.2 there for the Dow. You can see the NASDAQ leading 0.4%. Bitcoin trying to bounce here, but still, yeah, 7.75% to the downside. Crude is lower. We have gold just ever so slightly to start things off, but it's all about that Bitcoin number, guys. Good morning. Welcome. It is Monday, brand new week. We have the Q&A coming up later this morning. We'll touch on that. But yeah, big sell-off, guys, for cryptos over the weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were sort of talking about it before we came on, that you always see it reported when you've already come back like 10%. They're like, oh yeah, crypto down 20%. I'm like, yeah, okay, at the absolute worst. A little bit of a bounce happening though. Across the board, there's some names that have outpaced the move for sure, and we're going to be tracking some of those. But a lot of names are going to be in play this week. We have a monster earnings week coming through. Coke is just the beginning of it. We'll get Netflix later on this week. Not too much in terms of IPOs, but I still think it's going to be an exciting one. If you notice, I have less hair, but that's not even the most important thing here when it comes to the hair game, Sean, because you guys better have a shot of this, because Lucas on our production crew looks absolutely dapper, just dapper. Look at the guy. Took off the locks and looking fantastic. He's a new man. I think it's going to be a fun week, Sean.
Yeah, for sure. And look, finally, bank earnings were super boring last week, and hopefully this week, like we mentioned, welcome. It's going to be a good show. Look, it's 8:30. We're ready to rock and roll. We're here till 11:30, and then we're followed up today by Q&A with Mark Roberts. So it's going to be a fun one. We're excited to take all your questions right after the show for members, so that should be fun. And like we said, there's a lot on board here. I just have Microsoft up, making new highs here. But yeah, look, NASDAQ down 0.45. It should be a fun week. Delta, as I said, reporting. Coke today, Pepsi later. It's gonna be a nice week. Lots Honeywell. There's a lot coming. V's, AXB, a lot on board. So it's gonna be a good week. We're excited. Clover Health moving around today, and of course we're gonna talk about crypto and that crash. And I don't know if you had orders sitting there on Cardano. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was an interesting look for Bitcoin over the weekend. It was an interesting look for Coke this morning. As we mentioned, Coke out pre-market, so we'll have a look at that. Harley Davidson also reported positive note. A lot of people, I guess, interested in buying motorcycles during the pandemic. We'll talk about HOG coming up. Before we do, let's get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, Brendan, and hi guys, welcome back everyone. Let's start with this week with some good profits, and please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brendan.
Yeah, let's indeed get us started, guys. We have lots to cover here coming up in the next 55-ish minutes or so before the market opens. I want to start things off with a little talk on cryptocurrencies and the related equities, because a lot of stocks in negative territory in this group this morning, as expected, anywhere from kind of 3.5% to 6.5%, depending. Depending on who you were reading this morning, it kind of seemed like anything and everything was going to be included in this group and could be possibly included in this group. But I mean, a wide range of stocks here, guys, to look at when it comes to what is trading lower.
Yeah, you can sort of, there's a lot. I mean, everyone's going to be, in crypto anyways, a lot of people are going to be looking at your Maras at 36, down like 8%, and your Riots. I was actually looking at personally for me, I was looking at Silvergate a little bit just because it's a name I've been interested in. And you sort of look back to, like this double top, well, I mean, almost triple top made like that 180 range. It's starting to creep back into a bit of a range where, this sell-off, and we're talking about like 20% relative to the ramp to the upside, it's really not anything that's too far out of the realm, I think. And some of these names that have pulled back, obviously a heck of a lot more significantly than that, we're down, just under 30, well, around 30% or so from the lower high, and all-time highs over 30% in Silvergate. You might get back into like a low 100 area if this were to extend any further. And if we're holding 50,000. And you do test some of these lower levels, it's actually starting to get a little interesting on the pickup. And this has been the story of the game here, where if you're looking at the equity space, there are a tremendous number of names that are going to give you outsized moves. Now, does it make them as safe? I would say not necessarily, although maybe Coinbase so far seems to be that exception, because I'm a little bit surprised, and I'm at least a little bit impressed by the way that it's held up. I mean, if you really think about the fact that, of course, my chart's not going to load here, so of course it's going to freeze. Come on, give it to me, give me the 15-minute. If you look at the fact that after that first day, we've really held a pretty stable price area. If you look at the afternoon, you're looking at the $10, $15 range, 20 top. Pre-market here is the same thing. And that's with a lot of insiders being able to sell, lots of sell action coming through, institutions starting to pick it up. So I like the price action that I see. The fact that it didn't have any kind of a second dump is definitely a good sign. I mean, is it going to necessarily break out immediately? I don't know if that's going to be true, but even in the midst of that sell-off, we're even close to testing some of those lows. So that's a positive sign, I think, for Coinbase in particular. When it comes to like the Silvergate or a name like that, I think patience might be a bit of a virtue, because they're still looking a little bit teetery.
Look, so this Willy Woo guy is apparently pretty popular, over almost 500,000 followers, and apparently the collapse only really had to do with some sort of a collapse in the hash rate there, with the Xinjiang blackout that happened. And he has a little chart here that shows the hash rate correlating with Bitcoin. So they had a blackout in the Chinese province there, and apparently that's where a lot of the mining and whatnot takes place. So to me, I mean, crypto still remains solid. If you were able to, I mean, I was sitting here waiting to watch, eventually watched it, the Jake Paul fight, and I was watching, I was like, oh my God, crypto is absolutely crashing. I was able to get some Bitcoin down here, like 52, 53,000, which was pretty good. I went over and then grabbed, I mean, you can see where we dropped. You basically dropped right to 50,000, and then this is a 1 hour chart. So it started to go down, blackout apparently, right? And then crashed down. There is obviously the report of the SEC looking at some corruption and taxing issues and things like that. But like for that to drop, Saturday at 11 p.m. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the issue there for me. So anyways, right back up, 58,000. I think you got to buy Bitcoin on any drop. We've been talking about that one. And then here's Cardano. I did not have an order, but I've been saying, guys, you got to buy in front of 100 or $1. If you bought in front of $1 now, you're instantly in the money 20+%. So congratulations, anybody trading Cardano on this dip. Everything that I can see is right back. I mean, Dogecoin is back to 40 and change here, still ripping higher now. It got as high as 47. We're back to 40, 41, 42. So, to me, everything is fine in crypto land. If you slept on that or you were sleeping there on Saturday night, you missed a little bit of an opportunity. But that's why if your broker lets you, try to have some pending orders, right? And like this one here on ADA, down to $1. I didn't have it, but I was watching this thing, so I got long in the teens here on Saturday night and back more long in ADA. I think the story remains. Let's see. We'll watch Coinbase today. Obviously, if some of these exchanges are under regulatory problems, we'll see what happens. But moving forward, I mean, it's still crazy not to be a bull in crypto, in my opinion.
All right, let's bring in Mark Roberts here, president of Sun Lake Strategies, get his take on what to look for coming up in a brand new trading week. Good morning, Mark. It is a pretty exciting Monday. Lots of different angles to, I love the golf shirt look, by the way. They shut down our golf courses, Mark. We were very upset. They closed our golf courses over the weekend. We could not get out. So,
no.
were you able to?
No.
Okay. Let's.
I don't play golf.
I love the look. It was inspiring to start off this morning. I want to talk about Peloton here to start things off. This is it could be a little bit damaging. It seems on the sales side as far as Peloton is concerned. What is your take on this story? It is somewhat interesting.
The key for these companies, they made their money. They did their branding when we were, quote, stay at home. Now it's going to be guidance, as I keep referring to, and your branding going forward. If you're going to have issues, whether it's a recall for an automobile or it's a stricken COVID on a cruise line, you have to see if these are one-off situations. For the moment, I would guess that Peloton probably has to hold this 109 area. Otherwise, we could easily break below 100 and start trading in those lower 90s.
If this is an actual design flaw, or they come out and say, there is a fundamental issue on the design side of these, and they have to, as you said, recall, what could that mean?
It'll be a question of, are there lawsuits? Are there deaths? And if none of those expand, then it's a question of how fast can they do what they need to do. If it was an automobile, Ford and GM can't turn the corner fast enough, but Toyota is a company that's capable of turning the corner almost immediately. We'll see how fast Peloton can react.
All right, let's get a look kind of from a higher perspective here. There was, some quiet positive headlines on the COVID front coming out of the U.S. over the weekend and again this morning. They're talking about Johnson & Johnson might not actually last. This hold on the vaccine might not actually last that long. Is this going to be kind of the next positive catalyst for this market?
I would imagine they're going to have to make a decision on the age group and the risk. There's so much misinformation coming out these days, whether you have autoimmune issues, how long the vaccines last, whether or not you have a particular shot, how long are your antibodies alive in your system. Will we need a shot of antibodies to go along with a booster for some that are in that high risk area? There's just too many unknowns.
As far as a conversation going forward, though, it seems to be, especially in the U.S., we won't even talk about Canada at this point, but in the U.S., the positivity coming from health officials seems to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, again, miscommunication. I've talked to a number of cardiologists who've been dealing with respiratory diseases, and they're absolutely livid that the country has not been talking about this sooner and faster, that various high-profile groups, whether they're rock groups, health officials, basketball players, are not talking about how safe the vaccines are overall. The country is in a disarray. I think it's a shame. They've lost a great opportunity in getting many of those people that aren't sure they want to get vaccinated.
Can definitely echo that sentiment on this side of the border. All you ever hear about is the negativity, and more negativity surrounding the vaccine. So it's definite, as you said, misinformation, miscommunication. We could go on for hours, I feel. Heading into another big week of earnings, one or two names that you kind of have set aside as ones you want to watch?
It's interesting you say that. I'm not so much looking forward as I am looking back. I want to see how the financials react this week. They were a little shaky. You're starting to get a lot of consumer names. Technology will be coming up soon. There's a narrowness in this market that concerns me. And I want to see if we can expand again with guidance. So Coca-Cola, an example today, has guidance for 2021. That's what you want to see with all of these companies.
Hey, Mark, good to see you. Thank you so much. And yeah, look, I like that golf shirt look. And yeah, they banned golf courses here in Ontario. So that makes sense.
You guys have got to brighten the color a little.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but we're gonna try. Hopefully, they even banned playgrounds. Okay, so but
That
they
lasted
went,
a day.
Yeah, they went back on that once they realized there was a few issues with that didn't make any sense. You talked about Coke today, Mark. That was a very good report. It looks like we'll be taking out some new highs here as we move on. $54, $55 here on Coke today. Do you like that for a longer term play? You mentioned them talking about 2021, 2022 forward guidance and whatnot. Where are you on Coke? Do you like that report? I know they're not huge into snacks, more beverages. I think I prefer Pepsi, but where are you on all of that?
I prefer Pepsi as well, but I'm not in either. So I'm looking for some point of reference to get involved in one of the two.
Yeah, because I was just looking here at Coke trying to take out this 55 level there, and that looks like a decent little level. Another name here that I thought was always a huge reopen play was Uber. And Uber, it started breaking out. We get a lot of recommendations down here. Back in when the sort of the new year started, back down $48, $49, $50. We break out again. I don't think this is still Coke. Come on, Uber here. Oh God, now my chart's frozen. I don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go, Mark. This is what I'm talking about. Back in the new year, 48, 49, $50, breakout 66, 70. We've come back down a little bit here. I know you're more of on a Lyft side of things here. Has anything changed between Uber and Lyft for you? Do you have where would your recommendations be about this sort of reopening sector here with Uber, Lyft, and maybe can we even throw Airbnb into the same thing, in the same discussion?
Absolutely, you can. I think Lyft and Uber, $1.50, $2 down, $1.50, $2 up, triggers buys and more buys. So those are good. Airbnb, I'm in, and I'm happy I'm in. You're never going to get the perfect price, but this is not a stock that I'm looking at for a week or two.
I have to give you credit, Mark, because let's just go the cash cow coming through here. You were talking, there it is. This is you and your Lyft trade. There it is. Throw the money everywhere. What was it? I mean, we've talked about this before, but we do have new viewers on all the time. What was it about Lyft as opposed to Uber? Because it seems like this one you knocked out of the park here. Lyft much more aggressive to the upside here than Uber. I mean, lately, like you just said, they've both been a buck or two, back and forth and around. We'll see if they can take out their highs now. But what was it about Lyft that you liked more than Uber? I guess it was a couple months ago.
It was really a question of, again, your branding. The CFO or CEO, I don't remember, was out on the CNBC or some other channel I was watching, and they were very, very bullish. And the analysts just seemed to have had higher expectations for Lyft than they did for Uber. Uber got into some issues, I think, with drivers and
right.
I'm not talking about California, somewhere else.
Yeah, London, I think.
I'm sorry?
I think it was London, England and stuff.
London, England, exactly. So that was the issue for me. It was small pieces that I said I have to be in one or the other. I'll pick this one. It looks like a safer bet.
Mark, you're going to be joining us on the Q&A. We look forward to that, but I'm going to give you one last Q here, and you give me an A. Is there a name, and I know Brendan and you were talking about this a little bit, is there a name this week that you're overly excited about for earnings that we think will possibly get some new money flowing into it this week?
I will reserve the one name for 1140.
Perfect. I like it. Mark Roberts, Sun Lake Strategies, thank you so much. I like that. Let's give everybody a little bit of a cliffhanger here. I like that strategy. Thank you so much, Mark. We will see you in just a few hours.
Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was a professional tease there. I love that. Join us, guys, at 11:40 for the Q&A. Upgrades and downgrades today. First Solar on here, leading, I mentioned in the note, leading the entire Solar group higher. They're all looking pretty strong here. Citigroup with an upgrade on First Solar. Valvoline, this Corning on here, Baker Hughes. Nothing terribly exciting on the downgrade side. A couple of energy companies, Morgan Stanley. Yeah. What are you going to do? It's Monday, guys.
Well, we don't need all kinds of upgrades and downgrades. I mean, First Solar, there's a bunch of clean energy names that are moving, and I say that as just to show you guys. I mean, obviously this is a live trading show, and if you haven't, if it's your first time tuning in, then it's a live trading show. I just tried that CLNE. to the short side, making a double top of that 14. It's actually way down there on our watch list here, Clean Energy Fuels. They struck a deal with Amazon. And it was so super strong. It's sort of been holding off, and then it made that test of 14 even, up basically exactly at 25%. Stopped me out. Well, I actually manually got out here when it broke that 14 level, bit of a seller. Looks like it has a shot to roll over, but 0 for 1 on that particular name. It's going to be a big one. First Solar, the pre-market volume wasn't huge, but lifting the group, so to speak. This one just happens to have news of its own.
I like it. I like that, Mark. First of all, people wondering how bad it's going to have to get. Is that what you're laughing at, Valeria? People wondering how bad it has to get here before Valeria moves to their city. Look, we have another, 28 days, or they extended it. It was 28. Now they added 2 more weeks on to our lockdown here. Kids back in virtual school. It's going to be a fun springtime here, Brendan. Let's just hope that they do open those courses up. And nice calling Mark out on his shirt there. Too bad he doesn't golf. We could hit a round with that guy.
Yeah, definitely. It was so disappointing. We were scheduled to go out on Saturday, but did not. I was reading over the weekend, guys, that pubs are reopening in the UK. That's exciting. Congratulations to everyone in the UK for being able to go to a pub today. Lordstown Motors, wanted to mention real quick, there was a note. We were talking about this one back on Friday. It was down in the pre-market, ended up being pretty negative. Their truck was apparently supposed to make an appearance at the, the Baja endurance race, and it did not. So there's a little more negativity surrounding Ride today, guys.
Wow. Yeah. I guess pulling out of something like that or not finishing. I didn't read the full story there to see what it was. Lordstown been under. Look, you're going to see the chart look very similar to like your workhorses and your Nicolas, and so you're pressing down through these like fresh lows. I sort of when I saw that news, I was like, okay, give me 950s and we'll take a bit of a shot at it if you can come up here. But the pre-market volume is not that big, so. It is down 9%, so clearly the market is reacting to this as a big deal. I just think it's more along the lines of already under pressure and just another reason for some sellers to get out of the way here. So once again, you're seeing another sort of alternative EV name get beat up a little bit today. And sort of goes with like Tesla and some of the others that have been pushed. I like Ride, and I'm probably going to be looking at this one as a vehicle to trade today, no pun intended. And if it gets back to that 950 pre-market, that's where I'd probably take a shot. But took one crack at Clover Health, that broke through the top. Took one crack at that CLNE, it looks like it broke. Well, went through the top, and I made the top wick there. Now we'll see what happens if Lordstown gets any kind of a pop.
Yeah, oh man, that's not working again. I was gonna look at Fisker here, but it doesn't look like it wants to go back too far. To me, I know from what I've been reading and from the press, and that's obviously what I've been reading, and some of the other notes here about Fisker, I thought that Fisker was one that had a chance in the EV space, but you're seeing everything just start to tick lower and lower and lower. I mean, obviously you're up 0.38 today, but if there was going to be any sort of a break or anything, I don't think there's enough movement right now in these names unless you play off some of these reports, the short seller reports, or hopefully we get some reports going the other way. But to me, I think that if you're going to put any money into something, I'm into Fisker. I'm not super heavy into it. You guys know, I mean, you saw my move on QS. You know, when it broke back down below and we were stuck at 41.80 or whatever that was, we were able to get some out there at 37, 38. Now it's dumping down. I don't think like holding stocks that look like this is never a good move. So, I mean, there you go. That's, oh my God, it's the same. My charts are just not cooperating. But the QS and the Fisker chart look very, very, there we go, look very, very similar, just dropping off right now. So, yeah. Not a good moment right now for any of the EV spaces or any recent IPOs and or SPACs. There's just too many out there. There's not enough money around, and that's my play. And you're going to see the same thing probably with Coinbase start to head down to the downside a little bit, even though I don't think that one needs to be sold off at all.
All right, let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market this morning. If you haven't done so already, make sure you take a second and head to that link. Sign up for absolutely no cost to you whatsoever. Every single morning we send out the morning note, talks about all the stocks moving in the pre-market and why. Then you come and join us at 8:30 and we discuss how we approach trading them or potentially trading them coming up at the open. Yep, GameStop back at number one, or the first one on the list this morning. The CEO saying he's going to leave, confirming rumors out on Friday that this was going to happen. But George Sherman leaving by July, they're saying that will be, and he'll be replaced by someone to be named in the future. Also, Keith Gill has reportedly exercised some call options to purchase 50,000 more shares. So GME higher here, guys, in the pre-market.
Who can hold it like Keith? Nobody. I mean, yeah. Good for you, Roaring Kitty. I mean, look, obviously, the guy's done tremendously well here, and we got a day trade. We got to look at some of the levels here. You know, it's interesting, and I know it's. I've said this before. It's actually impressive how much volume and how well sort of GameStop is holding at some of these levels, but you can't sort of ignore that it's been an overall downward trend since that sort of failure to get through and hold through 200, and that happened on the back near end of last month. There was one little touch above, and then we slammed. I mean, just absolutely slammed back down and tried to retake it a couple of sessions later, right at the end of the month on the 30th, and then since then we've been grinding downside. 175 is last week's high. Well, 174 and change. That's exactly where it topped out in the pre-market here, so I guess no surprises. 175 looks like a bit of a clean break, and then you're going to run into some trouble at that 190 area. Now, almost every single time when if it gets to that top, you almost let it wick through. Like it'll test through the top, and then the breakout basically just immediately doesn't work, and that's when you signal that bit of a short. So the first hook would be at that 175. I've gone away from taking breakouts off the open on GameStop because lately they just really don't work unless you're the fastest hands in the West. But if it comes back in, I'm not going to hesitate to maybe look for a short position. I'd love it to be at the 185, 190 range if we can get back up to here. But I really do think that it just feels a bit overextended. It wouldn't be crazy. I mean, everyone's talking about like Clover Squeeze. You're going to have that and GameStop move another 10%. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it, but I'm ready to go if GameStop wants to make a move. And I do feel like there's going to be at least a decent amount of support down around, like you go to this level here, like these 160s to 165s, in around that chop range. So if it pulls back, I think maybe there's like an initial dip support there that you may be able to play with as well.
Yeah, nothing really. I wanted to look at, just because Neil did GameStop there, I was going to look at AMC. There's a small little 131,000 share bid here for AMC. So that could be something there that we're going to look at. And here's the AMC chart. And again, it's just kind of doing nothing. We talked about getting long if you ever got into this area, 8, 8.25, 850, something like that. We did dip down there last week, which gave you an amazing buy opportunity. And right now, as you can see, you're just back above this 50 period of 9.25. Will we hold that? I mean, we're very, very, very close to that. The dip spot there, again, I mean, this is pretty negative on Friday. We did hold 9, so I'm looking for the same thing again. So holding 9 on AMC looks like a strong move. We never really broke through this 950, but again, just by playing straight momentum and like, hey, GameStop is moving, therefore maybe AMC moves. There could be something there on that. I don't know if, like I said, we're kind of isolated here in Canada, but I don't know what theaters are like, and I wouldn't necessarily play this game with AMC. I don't like it as a reopen trade. I just, I like it more as the momentum and as it goes through. So I'm gonna look for 950 here on AMC, and then if it does dip, I think it's smart to get a couple bids down here around the $9 range. It hasn't, even when it breaks, guys. I mean, what is it gonna break and we're gonna go down 50 cents? Like, it's well worth the risk, I think, to bounce off some 9s and then see what happens. So we're gonna put some bids, low 9s, like 9 teens, like 9, 12, 13, 12 is not a teen, 13, 14, 15, something like that. We'll wait to see if we get long, and then we'll defend that 9 bottom. The actual bottom was 9.10, but we'll give it all the way to 9, and we'll see if there's some size.
Guys, we'll go on to Coinbase here next. After, an exciting debut, definitely, for Coinbase last week. It really quieted down heading into Friday fairly quickly. Down this morning, about 3% on the sell-off in Bitcoin. We had 14% at one point on Sunday. We've discussed it already. This 57,000 level, though, on Bitcoin seems to be a bit of an area that needs to either get back above or hold below, one or the other, but a bit of a pivot, I think. There was reports of China cracking down on money laundering. Sean was talking about that as well. But what do we do with Coinbase here, guys? 3% this morning. It's feeling a little more negative.
A little bit, but I mean, it's actually been a good stock to buy off support. That was certainly the case. That was the case on Friday. Obviously off the open, it gave you a dip right into that 320 level, which was the big one. That was the higher low that got put in on the first day. 310 bottom, and then 320 was the higher low. It gave you a couple of shots to get that at 9:30, and then of course off to the races. So I kind of look back to the afternoon pullback. A couple of times here, just before 11 o'clock, we got to this like 328 to 330 area, and same thing happened right after 1 o'clock. So. we're making a higher low as well. Again, I feel like that's the area that I would defend. I mean, if you're crashing, yeah, I mean, if we're crashing through this 57, and I'd let these things settle out and maybe wait for that 320 to pick up Coinbase. But if you didn't buy that dip, you could have waited for some consolidations. I felt the dip was the way to go, and I'll probably do the same thing again here today. First look will be at that 327, 328 area probably, and then as long as nothing crazy is happening over in spot, then you have a look at building there. And if we flush for like 5,500, I'll wait. For that 320 level to be certain. And we never really tested 310, so no idea how good that all-time low will ever be.
Yeah, I think we may test that eventually at some point. I mean, I was a buyer of Coinbase off open, and I think we'll do it. I'm not going to buy it today in my account, but whatever. I'm right here. 327, on Friday was the opening print, so that's what we got. You're going to lower 327.50, something like that. You're going to see right here 328 held. So this was again 1 p.m. We bounced into this area, some clustering here early on before we were debating breaking that. It does break it and rips to the high. So we talk about that 338 break that happened right here. That was a good one, leading you to about $8. We had that break. We talked about that. So anyways, basically, all the levels that Neil talked about make sense to me. I just think that Coinbase is going to be a buy for a long time. They're into so many more things other than just simply, an exchange. Eventually, they're into staking. They're going to be into mining. They already are. They have big, retail flow, but they're going to get institutional flow. There's more coming. They don't even list that many coins for trade, right? They don't have Dogecoin. They don't have XRP. They don't have a lot of different popular coins. So I think it's bombs away for them. They have Coinbase Pro as well. But with some of this Fed talk here, it could be, are they going to restrict certain exchanges? Are they going to come after them for tax purposes? Do they really believe that there's a lot of tax sheltering or evasion, I guess, happening with Bitcoin? Yeah, there is. I mean, welcome to the world of money. I think laundering happens with cash, right? So no matter what, I think they got to break down some of these exchanges, and I just hope that Coinbase is ready, locked and loaded. I mean, I'm sure the lawyers, I'm sure everybody's ready to go. So look, I mean, I'm ready for Coinbase. You're only down 3% today. I think we talked about how weak recent IPOs have been. This is obviously a direct listing, so you're going to have shares come off. We saw that with Palantir once they were allowed to sell. It's a 17, 18-year-old company, Palantir. Coinbase, I think it's 5-10 years old if you go all the way back. So I think there's a lot of kids and a lot of people that have been with Coinbase forever that are selling their shares to start new projects, to buy homes, to buy Lambos, whatnot. So I believe that Coinbase goes up. It just may need a bit more time. I'm a buyer on every dip. I'm going to talk to Mark Roberts about that later too.
All right, let's go to Peloton, guys. We had Peloton downside big time this morning. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission coming out with a warning on their new Treadmill Plus or Tread Plus product with the possibility of some dangers involving children, guys. So a bit of a dip here for Peloton this morning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is not a fun story to have to deal with because you don't like any loss of life whatsoever. And Peloton, sort of independent of this, you were seeing the stock possibly looking to roll over and sort of test that 100 level anyways. I mean, it sort of crept back up in the 120s, 125, rolling on that 50 period and just sort of teetering on that little bit of a failure. So you come in on a weekday and this just feels like it's the catalyst that could get us there by the end of the week. All that said, it's been decent support. Every time it's broken, you have these little wicks down to like 90 to 95, and then you get that bit of a recovery. So, I do feel like we're going to get a push down to 100 at some point. I'm going to favor the short side today on Peloton. It wouldn't be crazy, I don't think necessarily, down like 6.5% already, that you get a bit of buying into it. I've been burned before by being a little bit too anxious off of an open when you have a stock like Peloton, which right now is a 20-cent. Right now is a 20-cent spread, but 15, 20-cent spread. Sometimes you see a little bit bigger than that, especially off that open. If it got past 110, I had written down I like 112, 112.75 to 13 to start thinking about getting into something maybe a second time through. And if it takes out the low, I wouldn't hesitate. Maybe look at a 107 break as well. I just feel like at some point this week you could get down to that 100 again. That's the range it's been playing. So after this little rollover, I feel like we get there.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when this kind of stuff happens, and it's unfortunate. Obviously, they'll redesign that treadmill. I mean, I was looking at the pictures of it, and of course, pets and everything are going to get stuck under there. I mean, it just seems pretty obvious. I can't believe that they even really released that. Okay, Clover, just everyone's talking about it here. You know, I do think we take this $10 out today. There's a lot of chatter about Clover. There's a lot of chatter about the short side of this name, and you're going to see it probably take out the day's high right here of 980 right there. That's just a wick up there. I mean, the day's high really just, I guess, got made at 975. It's coming back off right now, so trade it as you will. But like we mentioned before, like Neil mentioned, I think I don't know. I think he probably was short in here, but it did take that out. So we'll wait to see now what does happen to the upside. But you know, if you are trading long side on Clover, we looked at this in our afternoon show. You did bounce off 850, so there is some sort of support down here, 825 and change. If you did think, you know, the former Chamath name here, I don't know if he's still in it or not, but we can find out. But brought this one to market, Clover Health, dipping down to 940 here. I don't want to buy that. That might be a break to the downside. So for right now, I like Clover, but I'm going to take any break up, that's for sure. And then hopefully it comes into 850. We'll stick a bid there. I don't know if, I mean, that's going to be a rocket down if we get 850, but I think that's a buy down here, and then we see what happens at 8. So mid 8's good for a buy for sure, and then we'll wait to see. I mean, you can even start buying 930, 940. It just depends. It just depends what your time frame is. For us, we're day traders. I'm going to look to make a quick little profit on any of this, so I like to have the best spots. So we'll wait for 8 and change on Clover, or we take out 980 and we'll giddy up on that one.
Now, there's no additional news on that Clover this morning. It was just the rumors that were flying around on the internet on Friday regarding the short interest. That S3 Interactive, I believe, the data provider, did come out this morning and clarified that number that they put out on the internet back on Friday, suggesting it wasn't, in fact, as high as they first said. Go to their Twitter page. You can see that if you're looking for it. Neil, you want to have a look at Clover?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Sean, in terms of, you know how I think. I mean, like where I was actually playing that little short. It did have this one big, sort of drop here at 7 o'clock. I mean, when you have gap up, when you have stocks that are going to gap up, you do see some profit taking right at 7 when people can come in and start trading. And it already started falling off at that price. So I kind of looked to that level, got into it in front of that 960, and then got out 940, got back in. It took out that 960, just got out, and ultimately it would have come back in the money for him. But it's a bit of a too strong of a trend. Like I want it to be here. I want it to be testing that low, which it never did. So when it comes back up, we'll give it another crack. And if it can roll over at that point, fair enough. But once it breaks up, I sort of stay away. I don't, this is one of these ones, and you talked about the squeeze potential. I wouldn't necessarily roll into, I wouldn't roll into the short off of the open. I think that's a little bit reckless. I would at least take a chance here off of that 925 area that couldn't break before. So it's 925, 930. If we did dip in there, you know, at the open and can hold that level, I think that could be an interesting little dip buy in closer to 930. And if we're breaking that, and it's like, you know, 10 minutes from now, I'd be very, very concerned that you could have that little flush down. Then you start talking about that 850 level that Sean is mentioning. You might as well wait for that if that's going to be the case. And you know, I'd probably short into that. You want to be able to play both directions if you're a day trader. It's done 7 million shares, and it's going to do tens of millions of shares today. So I'm willing to play in either side here. And if none of those things happen, we just keep going into the upside. The only thing I'm going to watch for is that top end break. So if it gets to that $10 range where, look, there was a failed break on Friday. I know we only spent some time there in the pre-market above that price. If it tries to make any kind of a roll over there, maybe a quick scalp short would make sense to me. But this is only day 2. So, you know, the absolute flush on something like this might not happen on day 2. That's why I'll play both directions here today. And I wouldn't, you know, I'm not going to shy away from the idea that I think 925 could be a good one if we cash that right off the open. As long as it gets any consolidation, maybe a quick little dip into that price, I'd look to play a quick rebound.
Okay, I can show you this, guys. Sean, you were talking about Chamath there and ownership on this thing. So this is, I had double check the date on this, when this is as of, but he's still right there, number 3, with that many shares, so a lot. 10 million versus Vanguard Group, 26.2 million ownership in Clover Health. So not that that means anything, but we will see what happens today with Clover Health. Let's talk about the, we mentioned it already a little bit. There's that CLNE, but there's also solars in general are higher this morning right across the board here. First Solar, FSLR, not a name we've looked at recently, but getting an upgrade from Citigroup to a buy from neutral. $100 price target from 88 on FSLR.
I love that look at their headquarters.
I mean, up to $83 today. I mean, it's still. I mean, Jinko Solar always comes to mind when we talk about some solar names, but this has been a good one. I mean, today we're up to $83, $84. You're going to break out a little bit here on that sort of an upgrade, but we're going to wait to see because you still got to get above the 50 period, which is cruising right here, 84.50 on FSLR. I don't know, like there's nothing too sexy about this chart, although I mean, it can get back up to 110, which would be pretty nice back to January, February, but we've already seen a lot of this run here in the new year, or sorry, not in the new year, downside, but in the past year, 2020, just basically riding this 50 period. We did dip down a little bit here. I guess I don't know if that's some sort of election talk, or maybe that's a bad earnings report there. We'll have to find out what that was, back down to 60, but then he just took off here. And then since the Biden administration really hasn't done too much for the EV space. I mean, every single EV stock that we can find has been getting crushed, right? So for First Solar, I just think it's just one of those names again that I'd rather wait. Like I'd rather wait to get back up here to 100, 105, something like that. I don't claim to know that much about First Solar. I've never really looked at this business, but for only 33,000 shares, to me, it's not a big one. I'd rather take, again, if you're going to be playing in the space, why not take Jinko Solar? That has a lot more to go here on the upside. We've already touched $80, $90. We've seen this huge run come with JKS. This is off one of the first debates that was had between Trump and Biden there, when solar was just leading the way there, all the way up to Jinko, up to 90 and change. You come all the way back. And to me, this is a little more exciting. If you do like the solar plays, there's more room to run here. The stock is broken, but if we can get into this area, 44, 45, then I think that Jinko is probably a little bit of a better long-term play than a First Solar. It's already done I don't have anything on the 1 minute for some reason, but it's already done more volume than FSLR, triple the volume. So I think for a day trade, probably Jinko a little bit better.
Yeah, no question. I think that's the better vehicle to day trade here. And oddly enough, I mean, you do have a pre-market high of 40 even on Jinko. You go back into the 8th, and before things got really ugly on the day after, on the 9th, you're going to see us making the first of these bottoms at 34.50. So 3 times in a row in a week's worth of trading, and then you're right back at that sort of the top of that little move. So if we get a break of 40 even, you got to be interested in Jinko Solar here. The only downside is it's done more volume than First Solar, but only done 100,000 pre-market. So it's not particularly active just yet. Usually that means I don't like a breakout trade on a low volume name like that. I want to see it maybe test downward, and maybe look if it can hold like. You look at these tops back here, like 38.70 or so. If it holds that off the open and then makes a run, at that point, that's probably going to be a much better entry point.
All right, let's go to Coke, the next one on the list, guys. We had earnings out this morning in the pre-market. We're back to about flat on the day overall for Coke, but another one that has come in above expectations right across the board. Revenue, the per share number beat. Mark was even talking about the guidance looking positive as well. If you have a look at the chart, though, we are back to, I guess it's still 0.5%, but coming back in here quickly, in fact, for KO.
Sleepy. Look, Coke it's not going to be the most exciting name in the world, but we talked about this last week with Pepsi, and if you want a more diversified sort of portfolio when it comes to the company, certainly Pepsi is going to be that story. This bodes well, I think, for the economy in general. I think they're having them having good numbers because they're certainly more of a recovery play, at least, than Pepsi would be, because they're so tied into, the bar scene, theaters, public gatherings, sports, all that kind of thing plays into Coke a little bit better. All that said, I don't know there's going to be a massive day trade. It is worth noting, and we just had a slight dip down right into what was the last couple of weeks. It has been the high right below that 54 area. That's 53.95, guys. And we just had a slight breakdown to that price. So it's going to be interesting to see if Coke can't hold these levels here. It could be a bit of a bellwether. If we're going to break through there, you could see us with the market start to come back in if Coke can't hold these levels. I mean, maybe you get a dip all the way down. I don't know how likely that's going to be. Down into some support down in the low 53s, and then that'd be a good place to pick it up on the day trade. But unless you're really excited by 5 or 10 cents. Or maybe 20 at a time, this is not going to be the first name that you go to unless you can pick up some of these lows in the market spacing out around like lunchtime or 11 o'clock. I don't know about Coke. You can find a lot of smaller cap names that are going to give you the good returns on much, much higher volume. So that's, for a day trader, probably staying away unless we really push to the downside. That'd be a decent one to try to pick up.
Yeah, you can see here that we do have Coke with a big sell imbalance right here, 24.53. The market's coming down here. I don't know what was going on. The only thing I wrote down, and the sticky note's not too crazy today, there's Coke in the middle, 55 if we get that top break. We like Clover through 10 if that does happen, GameStop through 175, and CCL back down through 27. This is what's going on here. And then we'll see if Coinbase can hold it back to the bottom. I mean, it's kind of a simple one here today. We'll just see if some of these levels can hold.
Let's talk about Tesla trading lower as well this morning. There was, pick one. There were so many analysts last week trying to tie Tesla to Bitcoin prices. We saw a bit of a pop last week, obviously record highs for BTC. But back to the downside, there was that story out of Texas this morning as well, or over the weekend. 2 people, unfortunately, being killed in a collision that involved the autonomous feature in a Tesla. And Cathie Wood's ARK funds came out selling a bunch of shares on Friday. I think there was some people talking over the weekend regarding maybe she was moving that into Coinbase, out of Tesla into Coinbase, but nearly 135,000 shares sold by Cathie Wood on Friday.
It almost has to be, right, Brandon? Because the sheer volume that they were putting into, I think, multiple funds, multiple of the ARK funds that we're putting into Coinbase. I mean, it makes some sense. Tesla had just made that monster push up, and they were buying Tesla when it broke that 600 and made that 500 test, and they weren't. Cathie Wood doesn't wait for the rebound. I mean, every time we see those buys, it's buying into the stocks they like on the way down. So you get buys that are in the 600 range, below that 600 for sure, and then all of a sudden you're sitting up above 750, 730, those price levels. So it makes some sense to me if you're going to put some money into that, if you want to get into Coinbase. Now, as far as the unfortunate story goes, with the autopilot and the crash, that type of thing has not usually and it's nothing good about it. Of course it's tragic, but it's not the kind of thing which is usually weighed too heavily on the stock, right? So you kind of have to keep that in perspective. I do think you're probably talking a little bit more about Tesla coming back after what was just an unbelievable run from those bottoms around the 550 to 600 area. And then if we do retest, I just want to go back into this price level. I got my 15-minute up, and maybe I'll zoom it in a little bit so you can sort of see. We had this 715. It was like 713 to 715. That was kind of that breakout area, and we were going along a couple of times into that push. And then that's going to be that first level of support. And if we can't hold that on Tesla, I mean, we're down 0.3 on the ES, and the NASDAQ starting to slide a little bit down below that 14,000 mark. That's going to be that key level on Tesla. And if it's going to be a sell day, first things first, it has to get through that 13 to 15 range. Will I have a short the first time through? I don't usually love Tesla, especially if I get it in the pre-market. I don't like it at all in the pre-market. If we get a push there and then try to bounce off it the first time, and then maybe fail to get through like a 720, fail to get back through a 720, second time through is likely to be a charm for me. So I like that 713 to 15 area. If there's going to be any kind of a pullback in the market, that's a price area that I would play Tesla to the short side. If it does pop, I think it's a decent fade if it gets to like a 740 to 750, but that's a heck of a lot of room to the roof on Tesla to get involved too early.
A couple of people talking about Apple, guys. We had a positive week for Apple last week. Their 420 event is just around the corner. Apple down a little bit here in the pre-market this morning, but trying to hold 133.5. Big level past couple of days here for 133.5. I mean, it doesn't get much better than the daily chart so far the past couple of weeks anyways on Apple.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said 420, and Robbie got really excited about that. So, they have the event coming up tomorrow, certainly, but it's a very similar. It's not a similar chart because you didn't have the same run in the last couple of sessions that you did in Tesla, but it's a similar chart in terms of its basically holding on this like 133.25, whereas Tesla's testing that 713 to 715 area potentially, and then a couple of signs pointing to, hey, if the first thing we do here in the morning is break that resistance point or a support level, I should say, in a couple of names like that, with the market sort of heading down, I think we could be at least headed for a minor pullback here, which if you're into Apple, it's usually a good reason to buy Apple, in my opinion. But the first things first, I think that 133.25 is the only level I had written down. I don't tend to express trades short side in Apple, which, I don't know, maybe that's a bit of a mistake there. I do look over at Tesla and see it as a little bit more appealing off that 13 to 15 area. But Apple 133.25 is a very, very similar support.
Yeah, you can see if it's going to hold 133 here. I mean, this is just the 20-minute chart. Goes all the way back to, what day is it today? The 19th, so it goes all the way back to the 9th. There where we held that 133. So since, I mean, we broke it. I'm just saying that was a good level there in the pre-market before breaking back downside, bounced around 133 back on the 13th, bounced around 133 just a couple days ago, and then we got almost there, 133 and a quarter, like Neil's just mentioning, there on Friday. So I don't know. Is the NASDAQ going to be weak today? It looks like it's going to be a little bit weak with Apple only down. Actually, they're both down the same now, Apple and the market. So yeah, I would look to pick some up if you get into this 131 area, but yeah, I think there's got to be a major collapse for that to happen.
Let's talk about this clean energy. I mentioned both solars and some of the renewable fuel companies hired this morning. CLNE signing a deal with Amazon, of all companies, to provide some biofuels and renewable fuels to provide 27 existing fuel stations across the U.S. to start, and then an additional 19 coming up next year, guys, for CLNE.
Ooh. Always
yes,
good.
sir.
Yeah, always good to make a deal with Amazon, I guess, right? I mean, we saw what BlackBerry did for that one day or 2 days there when they got some deals with the autonomous driving there, and I think there was some sort of a thing there with Amazon those couple days as well. AWS. I don't know. So we'll find out here. This up 14, up 214, up 26%. Congratulations, anybody here with Clean Energy Fuels Corp today, and you get a nice little bounce. Like I said, there's been a lot of negativity. You saw FCell. We've seen XL Fleet. There's been a lot of. I mean, we bought XL Fleet at 870, went to 1070, now it's 670. So you have up and down here a lot, and I mean, this is just one of those names that's going to continue to work like that. You do have a nice little break of the 50 period, which is nice. We like to buy stocks that are plus 50 period moving average there. And then right here, 1470, if you see, maybe I can zoom this in just a little bit more here. We've topped out, it looks like today at 1470-ish. It's 1450, but you came here. I guess these are all 1450, like 1450, 1450, 1450, then this high right there, 15. So I think between 1450 and 15, there definitely seems to be something, as well as between 14 and anything higher. So we'll wait to see if we're stuck in this area. Looks like it's coming back down a little bit here, but what a good move. Back to VWAP would be 1378. That would make sense if we can get a fill there. We'll see about that and then hold it through this 1340 area. So I'm going to bid right now 1378. We're going to see about taking out the high. The high, I guess, since I've logged in, is 1450. Did we get any higher than that, Neil?
I mean, I had that little prep, that print one right here in the pre-market, but that's all I got. There might be a little bit extra, but it just broke.
Wow.
Of course, it just broke. I was about to show you guys, and I said in the chat, there was a 14 ARCA iceberg order that was just, sort of buying shares at will here. And yeah, when it broke, I mean, I wanted to grab some, but unless you actually hit the 14, when 14 broke, I mean, no chance really. I mean, maybe you could have had some like 94s, 95s. I couldn't get 99s. That's the floodgates opening up, and that's what happens when you have a bit of an iceberg order. So I like the 1340 area for a bit of a dip, but that is most of the reason why you see that harsh candle is because essentially for half an hour you had one order holding it above a price level. So when it breaks, there's going to be a bunch of people that loaded up longs in the 1s, 2s, and 3s, and they're just covering their trade. So if we do hold that 1340 to 1350, that would be a decent area of support. But some of that selling, the buyers that just stepped up there, is going to have to abate before that happens.
Okay, a couple of people asking about Arun, guys. Arun is fine. He had some camera issues this morning, unfortunately. He was trying to log in remotely, and his camera kept freezing. But Arun is fine. Don't worry. He'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we should have a look at the overall market here, guys, seeing as how we didn't have Arun on.
Sure. I mean, yeah, we can have a quick look here. I haven't really gone over any levels because I don't really trade the futures too much. But the NASDAQ here, a nice little move to the downside again. My chart not going back too far here, but if you look at the NASDAQ here, I can get over here. NQ $F. I'm always looking at NASDAQ dailies anyways, just to see where we're at here. This is a daily chart of the NASDAQ. You've seen we've just taken out recent highs back from February. You're going to take out more highs here, hopefully coming soon. 1450, it looks like we're going to do that right now today. So, I mean, anything back into, this is 15 period moving average on a daily, 1368. Obviously, we're 300 points away from that. I don't think that gets hit right now, but for me, we'll just continue to watch something like triple Qs or the SPY and watch out for some NASDAQ key break levels right now. I did go long on CLNE. We're long at 1376, a couple buys here below. I told you we're gonna use these bids here as our, as sort of a bouncing spot here. We're going to wait for 1340 to break, but other than that, looks like we got a nice little long here on CLNE to start the day. We're only long at 76, basically flat right now, but I like this position as there's some big size here. Let's see what happens with CLNE, but I honestly, I didn't really look at the broad market too much yet.
Let's
to Brendan, please.
Sure, yeah, we can have a look at this one, guys. ANPC, bottom end of the watch list. This morning up, they have a specific cancer test for a specific type of cancer that was used way more than they anticipated in their last quarter or month or something like that. But up big time on that news this morning. We've come off these highs from aftermarket on Friday is when the news was released, but it's pushing on pre-market lows currently, 575, 550. If it does get anywhere back towards this 625 high, 630 high, you got to revisit that. There was a little pivot there from aftermarket on Friday. Not much above that. This is a little bit thinly traded. Volume's questionable, so be careful on this. Watch 720 at the top there for ANPC.
There's another, Sean, I know you saw that CLNE, another 14 bidder just stepped up there, but there's another one, AMBO. They also signed a deal with Amazon of their own, and they're up 33%. It was pushing almost close to $3. Is my daily going to work? Yeah, okay, so nice. Daily chart worked. It did fail shy of this little $3 area the last time it spiked to the upside. That's as far as it could go. Nothing to see on the 15-minute chart, but this one looks a little bit weaker than I think that CLNE. And I want to play any shorts into this like 255, 260 range.
Hell yeah. We're starting the day off right already, guys. We'll just go like with a little bit of dollar signs there, a little bit of action there as we tweet this out. We just got out at 9s right there. So, hey, oh, ho-hum, here's a 40-cent winner, guys. This may be something to take out right now on this name as it's just Rip City. We take it out again, and we start the day off right with an early one today, guys. So let's go with an early, if I can find it. Where is it, where is it, where is it? Oh, there it is. It's gone, so who cares? We'll just go woohoo as we get those money bags out there and just flying around. An early 50-cent win there, Brendan, on CLNE. Again, like it basically happened right away, right as I was talking to it. I said anything back down to VWAP, we are buying that thing. We're lucky enough to get it lower. We believe in it so nice that we don't buy it twice. We buy it 4 times down here. So 4 times here, downside, nice little rip up. We're still holding 60%.
Kodak just popped up. Anyone who's traded this will remember 1.35. There's still this really easy range, 850 to 750 on the daily chart. But I'm just reading through this. They acquired assets from ECRM Incorporated CTP business. Whatever that means, I'll figure it out and let you know, guys.
Kodak on the move as always. Got to check for those. We actually don't have shorts on AMBO, so I'm going to have to make sure we check back in to see if we can get them. I mean, Kodak, I don't know. We traded those guys before. I just want to note Amara testing 35, actually holding on low of the day. And we didn't get back to that 5,700 level, so I'd be careful with some of those floors there on the crypto-related names. Maybe SI does give some of those prices that we were talking about. Just to go and recap some of the names that we went over, GameStop does not make a secondary test of that 175 area, current high 174.28. It's a 75 level that's going to be the big one for me. And maybe it has some support down at that 165. If it does, and I get a chance to buy that off the dip, I'll take a quick little scalp trade there. But it's a 175, and then past that, I'll be looking up to that 185, 190 area before I test any kind of a bigger short position there. And it looks like maybe that iceberg is back on CLNE at 14 even, Sean.
Yeah, we've cashed out. We cashed out more there at 14.15. I mean, all we're really doing right now is just riding that bull to the high side. It's been a big, big win for us to start the day here already. Like 4 times in, 3 times out. We're holding a little small piece now. By small piece, we're holding 40%. So we'll see if it can take it out. We do want to go higher side as well if we do rip. So let's wait to see if we do take out that 14.20 on CLNE, and then we'll go high side on that one as well. Yeah, no, 14, no, not 14.20, 14.50, I guess. On CLNE is sort of what we like. I don't know. I like anything at this point on this one. Yeah, maybe even this 14.30 long. Okay, NEO here to the downside. We talked about AMC possibly buying that if it gets lower. We do have bids there. Palantir, I mean, you know, we talk about this all the time, but today I'm not super excited about it. It's already down that 1.34%. And so we just look out to take out this 22, man. Palantir could just continue to break heads and hearts as it continues to go back downside. So this one's going to have to be waited on. I've sort of anchored myself to Palantir, but we are, you know, I'm long this name and don't look to get out of it anytime soon. So Palantir looks to break back down below 22. Watch out, man. That's like a big level there. So if we break 22, I think you got to go short on PLTR with only 10 seconds to go, deal.
Yeah, dropping that countdown. Clover Health still in this tight range, that 940, 950, and not even to the 925 and the 975. In the Carolina Blue, 3, 2, and 1, Miss V.
All right, let's see what we can do here. We'll take a little small short if we can get it. There it is. Did we get that? No, we did not. We're waiting for a small short here on CCL. I like the breakdown below, though, on this name through 26.90, guys. Short CCL through 26.90. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and no move up there on Clover. We did want that 925 area on a bit of a pullback and a dip, and we're basically holding a 10 cent range. I'm not going to force the action, but watch out. Peloton is pushing towards that low of the day. If it breaks low, I'm going short.
Yeah, Clover, CCL, Coinbase, we can watch out for that one. GameStop as well. Here goes CCL. We're going to get into this short right now. And when we do, there it is. So we are now short CCL. And let's just find out what we're going to do with this name. A big win. How about that to begin the day here? Again, another one. We'll see 77s to 89s. We're doing it again live on the show for you. Once again, there's the call. I don't know if, I mean, did we get out too early? Did we get out too late? We'll take a little bit out right now. Let's see if CCL continues to move March downside. Once again, guys, a big winner here to start the day. Let's go. We just got into Clover as well. Let's see what happens on this break.
Yeah, Clover just broke through the top, got a couple of entry here. Just see if he can't hold this and break towards that 10 even area. It couldn't break down. I saw this over and over again, like right at the open. 950, hold. So you do have a bit of a support level we can use. It's going to be long in Clover, and then Peloton bounced off of that low. So, I mean, I was waiting up here at like 112. We talked about 112.73. I don't know that we test that high. In case it spiked off the open, I wanted to catch it. It holds 107. I still like that breakdown. It looks like the other trade might be playing off this 110.50 as a first pop.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty monstrous right now on everything, guys. We took CLNE to the downside. We took CCL to the downside. I hate to always do this to you guys, but I mean, this is what was just happening on the show like every day right now. Clover, CLNE, nice wins. CCL, nice win here. CCL, the biggest win of them all, guys. We're down in the 50s right now. This is what we wrote down. We told you that. Right at the bottom, 26.90 break. And what were we short? 26.90. What up, B?
Yeah, nice move on some of the cruise lines, guys. UAVS, the drone maker, just popped up there right before the open. They acquired this Measures Global company, which is going to end up being their end-to-end drone solutions provider. UAVS, guys.
So starting to take out some of this Clover as it just tipped to like 992 and then flush right back in. So every time it pops, you are seeing a bit of a drop down. So there is some heavy selling coming in. I wanted to stay on the bull side until it broke at least 950, if not 925, but I'm seeing some heavy sell action come in. And I still have half the position onto the long. If it bounces off 50 again, then I'm probably going to take some profit off and look for it to test 10 even. Got into the initial short on Peloton here, 109.19 to the short side. That one, of course, horrific news. But here's the initial bounce on Clover at 950. If we can hold that, I just bought a bit of the dip. 950 breaks, I'll get out.
Yep, okay, good call there. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to hold a little bit longer than 950, but let's wait to see what does happen here for CLOV to the downside, it looks like, as we are long. So we do have a decent amount of shares. This is going to hurt when it does go, but doesn't matter. It does matter. Everything matters. But there's CCL. We talked about that one. It's so nice. We like it twice. There's the other short happening at 56 there on CCL. So let's cover a little bit more. 48s, 49s, 50s. We are just tank city here on CCL. You're going to notice that, we have way more shares on CCL than we do on Clover. Clover didn't even make my list today, but we do like that name. And we did talk about also, damn it, missed opportunity on Palantir. As we said that I didn't like this 22. There it goes. It breaks it back to the downside. Should have shorted this one. We picked CCL, but I'm super happy with both. And CLNE, man, we did look at this beautiful bottom there at 56. Let's cash a little bit more out on this one. A big win here for CLNE as well.
Got some more shares in Peloton here. It's about that 110 area that we're holding, but I want to show you guys Coinbase. It actually popped off the open, so the initial test wasn't out to the downside. It's now going to test that 330 area. We're back to 1400, so watch out because the NASDAQ is absolutely screaming. That 328, 327 is the first test that we said we would like on Coinbase. Thank you for the reload on the coffee there, Ms. V. So Coinbase essentially right here at that 328. Going to see if we can't do the dip buy, which was going to be the plan always on Coinbase.
Yeah, we're just so we're just cashing out of everything, man. We're very, very light. What up, Ms. V? We're very, very light now on CCLs. We just got some out at 37 or 30, 39.40 there. A good out. Basically, we're just waiting for Clover to do something here. We are still long in the 80s now. We'll see what happens there. It does dip down into that 940 area, so we're getting very, very close to getting out this 935. So let's see if holding it is the right play or not. But I mean, it's trying to break down low, so that's not obviously going to be ideal for us, but whatever. We'll just continue to watch that. Yeah, Peloton in big time trouble there now, 112. NEO, a name that is often traded by us and looked at by you guys. So let's wait to see what happens here with NIO now coming up. Nice little move to the high side. I think that's going to be worth a buy as NEO today strong into what was a weak market, but now strong. So I think NEO could take out this 36.80 and we'll go long.
Brennan? Nope.
Herman Miller, guys, there we go. Herman Miller popped up in the pre-market on volume, or actually down in the pre-market. They picked up this Knoll, Knoll Incorporated, $1.8 billion acquisition deal for Herman Miller, if you're wondering on that one, guys.
So initial bounce was right at that 327.50 area on Coinbase. I got it at 28.23. Took some out for the quick scalp in front of 330 because you had that pre-market low. We want to see if it could hold. I feel like it was a $5 type of range stock most of last week. So if I get like anything in the 332, 333 range, it's probably going to make sense to rinse and repeat. It's not necessarily been as volatile as I think some people might have expected. So going to get the quick little buy in there, and then watch out because Peloton is looking like it immediately wants to test that 112.75, which is what I really like. So if it rolls over here, we're just shy of it. I take it on the way up. I try to catch them on the way down here. Peloton was one I liked to the short side, shorted into the pop. Let's see if it can't get a bit of a retracement. I also picked up that CLNE. Now I stayed away from, for the most part, that long trade. Just got to short and when it retook that 14 even area, so got 1385. Just showing you guys the perspective of even if it breaks 1330, there's a lot of room, some of that pre-market support down in the low 12s. Brennan?
Another one from the watch list this morning, Harley Davidson just popping up here. Day highs on volume. This is 46 being tested right now. So recent highs, in fact, if you go to the daily chart, nice beat on earnings for HOG, guys.
Okay, so we do have a new position alert. We'll talk about this a little bit. Well, hopefully we can do this. We might have to have a little bit of diamond hands because right now NEO not really making that move upside. We did see a big move here in the NASDAQ. We did see a big move in NEO. I thought we could take out this high. If you look here, basically just at this 20 period, we're right at this level here, 36.80. So we do know that there's some consolidation back to the 12th. So there's some issues at this level. But again, if the NASDAQ keeps on ripping, then I do like this position here on NIO. We'll see if we can't take a little bit more out on the upside, on the high side of this trade, but who knows here as we're looking to make a little bit more damage here on NIO to the upside, a good trade. Clover looks like it wants to break down here, so I don't know where my out is. I thought we had it coming, but 920 it looks like, so this is going to be a big, big move for Clover to the downside right here, guys, looking like it wants to break.
Might have got out too soon. Like I just said, like if it goes $5, so we'll take that first little leg out here or get out on our first trade in Coinbase. That's what's going to happen. You get that 328 pop. No. It's now back to 333, so maybe $1 shy. I can tell you CLNE made another pop into that 14 range. So look what it's doing. It's just spiking up into the 14s. I just got 91s the first time I got 86s. And then every time it comes back down to those 50s, I'm just essentially taking some shares off here. So you get those quick little 40, 50 cent wins. I'm still holding through because look, we haven't definitively broken this 1340 area yet. I mean, it ticked through just once just now, but still like $1 to go till you have some pre-market support below the 13 area. So there's a lot of room for it to come back in. There was a monster buyer at 14 that we had to be concerned with. And right now, Peloton holding 1260. 1275 is that price here. It's going to be key. It's blowing through right now. I can't give it more than like 250 on Peloton. Peloton can give you $5 winners, but I'm not taking more than a 250 hit on it. If it breaks 13, we'll have to give up the ghost on Peloton.
Okay, so the low there, we did get stopped out here, but we're going to go try one more time here on CLOV. Now, we did get stopped out there, but that's fine. We're going to wait to see where it goes now. We just took some more shares there. We'll take out, again, if it breaks this bottom of 916, we'll get out, but we're back reloaded. We can make this all back with a nice little move upside now. So we're long at 41. We didn't get out of everything, but we did get out of the majority there. So that's why when we buy 33s, our average price says 41 right now. So Clover, we're going to look at it on the downside right now and see where it wants to go. We can check out Riot and Mara and whatnot, see what they're doing here. Riot to the upside, obviously. It looks like we talked about this near 40. Now you're at 42. Let's see if Bitcoin can't make a move back to the upside right now. Looks like we're trying. This is a 1 hour chart. We can go down to a 1 minute now. We're not really trying too much here, are we? Hurry. I hate this charting platform. I don't even know how to go to the forward. I have to figure this out. Oh, like this maybe. There it is. Okay, a nice little move from Bitcoin, 56 up to 56.5. What up, Brendan?
CrowdStrike just saw a big pop here off the open from 210 to 222. Just checking on CrowdStrike, guys, up 3% so far.
All right.
Just going to go quickly back over to GameStop. Remember, it could not take that 175. It just pressed back up above 170. So without testing that high, if we don't get through 175 here, we're going to go short on a retake of 170 even. So look, a little bit of weakness has come into the name. It is what it is, guys. I mean, obviously, I said if it popped 175, it had room for maybe 185. That has not happened. So I'm going to sit bearish on it at least for the rest of this. Well, not for the rest of this morning, but for the time being on this opening range. We get back below that 170 area. I like the short side trade there. I can tell you a bit of a spike, and there it is. Yeah, just got the fill in GameStop when it broke that 170. So 169.75. If it gets anywhere close to this like 166 bottom, I definitely scalp some out and then look to see what happens at 165. The iceberg there, and I'd cover the rest.
So Neo, yeah, good move there. We talked about Peloton before there. Great hold on Coinbase. We talked about that. I can't believe I wasn't even looking at that. I only have 3 things there written down in coin. 328 was one of them. Let's get some Neo out here. We did go back into that name. We averaged in again down here at 50. So now our average price is 70. It comes right back in. We did take some of that out now. So let's wait to see where we want to go now with Clover, with Neo here. Hopefully to the upside goes Neo. So we'll wait to see on that one. But my average price now 70. I do like it. So hopefully we'll be able to be paid off on our opinion on that one. Neo, Clover, and then CCL all the way back, guys. Good thing we cashed out those CCLs.
Yeah, we'll hit the pound action. So phrasing. GameStop took some out right here. I said that 167.50-ish area. So you're going to quickly get almost like a $2.5 winner.
Neo.
There was no iceberg order at 166 or 165, but I couldn't even get to 166. So you are seeing a little bit of strength. I'm going to roll my stop back to the evens. I wanted to test that 65, but I'm going to say no worse than break even on this trade. I'm not even willing to hold it against me. Not when we're up like 9% on GameStop and it's been strong overnight. So I'll make sure we bank this one and can't turn into a loser.
What's up, B?
Brent?
One we mentioned, guys, tied to the infrastructure spending or potentially tied. X here, United States Steel popping up this morning. They updated their current quarter guidance. April 29th, they will report, but better than expected preliminary guidance, guys, for current quarter for X.
We did it. So here's Neo, guys. A big trade alert. We are long. This is a big one. We're getting excited. Let's go to the high side now. NIO, we talked about it taking out the top, and it's done that, and it's done that easily right now. What a great buy that was at the bottom. Holy shoot. 36.50, man. It drops all the way down there. We say thank you very much, and then we put on the money side. We put on the big win there. Good trade for us on, obviously, on NIOs. We just got touched there again at 95. So, yeah, man. I mean, are we happy about this? Hell yeah, we're happy about this. A big win for us here on NIO to go. So happy with the way that's performing out. We'll just wait to see if it can go higher. I still have bigger aspirations for this trade here. I think we can get higher than $37. We broke this down for you before on the 20 period, moving at on the 20-minute chart. We showed you where this name could go and where I think it can. I mean, we just trying to crack through here. Next stop, 37.60, 37.50. I mean, I don't know if I won't be holding it for that far, but a big trade right now. Just got to get through this. It looks like we're stopping again at 37, but hey, man, we're long right now. 36.54 here on NIO. Big trade alert, guys.
Yeah, big monster right there. And look, we just retook that. Well, we're trying to hold, the NASDAQ's trying to hold that 14,000 if you're watching the overall market there. I just saw Apple trying to hold a 35 level there. And CLNE, consolidation city, there's no more pops into that 13, sort of 80 to 90 area that we're shorting into. And it looks like it could be a bit of a rollover in this range. If we can test higher to 65, I think that's the only way I'd be able to get back into some shares here. But it is a bit of a runner, and that GameStop is really starting to slow down, to the downside, I should say. Consolidation right around where we got at that 167.50 before. I'll give it another crack here that maybe it can test down to that low, and I can catch something in front of 165, which has been the goal. But it's been strong before, and I don't want to fight this one too hard. Too hard if one wants to go too hard to the downside. Now back to Coinbase, if I can, just for a second. Coinbase showing all kinds of strength. So we definitely took this one off a little bit early. It's always been range bound. Every single day other than the first day it's been range bound. So if we do get back up to this like 338 area, if you guys were watching last week, yes, 338 sounds random, but it was a price. We get back up to that price, I think it's going to be a fade there, at least another place. If you're still long, you might consider taking profit. I mean, if it gives you $10 in a stock, which doesn't really move that much lately, you might want to take a shot at it.
I wish we could make a little more money here on Clover, but and right now we're not.
Nope.
I mean, we are. I mean, we're 20 cents in the money right now on CLOV, but we're just going to wait to see how high. I mean, it just keeps on dropping off here at 55. So I'm not super happy, obviously, with the way this is performing. You know, we did take that bid. Got some out for nice wins there for sure. We talked about that. But then we did take that very low. The very, very bottom of the day is unfortunately where we got out. And now we're trying to make moves to the high side. So we're making some of this money back. Not all of it, obviously. As there goes NEO. Wow, we did it again on this name, guys. Up to 37.09. Congratulations to anybody that took this with me. Big trade on NEO. Even if you didn't see me or hear me average in down there, which I hope you did, you know, this top taken out, you only had to hold it 30 cents against you, 36.80. Now we're up to that 30 cents again. So this is about right if you're doing the risk reward percentage right now for you to the high side. But hey, man, this is a big win, and we are super happy to be able to have this on board with you now. 65 cents, 66 cents now in the money. And here goes Clover as well. Probably worth taking, I was going to say, worth taking some out there in the 58s, 59s. Let's put an offer there and get a little bit more out for a 30-cent win.
Yeah, Clover is trying to churn upside here with a decent break. The reload basically got in front of that 50 level. Now we're right back to 50. If it pushes, remember, it was a breakout at 975 that stalled shy of $10. So if it can't get through that 975 area again, I would take a quick short. Otherwise, you want to see it test all the way to 10 even. Brendan?
Solar, guys, from the watch list this morning was leading, as we mentioned, just took out day highs here, 84 broken there, up 5% now. Volume's still a little bit iffy, but first solar, I should say, trying to go.
Okay, we didn't actually, I mean, now we're getting more short on CCL here. We let it go all the way up, man. We cleared out of our position on CCL. Let it go back up to this 27.20 area there. You can see my average price, man. So we're into this name. Let's just see. We just took some more shares there at 9s. Average price still not good, 77. Was waiting to get a little bit more, but the high side here on CCL, 27.20. So if we go up there, we'll get out. NEO, we cleared out, that's Ether. NEO, we cleared out a whole bunch to the upside right now. Big long, took a whole bunch out when we broke through 37. I think it's worth getting some out. And here goes Clover. So let's get some more out now. I'm offering 82s and 75. So how high did we get there? 74. So let's see if we get through 75 now on CLOV. Let's get this one going. Too bad we got out there. This day would be like XXX high. X in a good way, XXX to the high side right now. Clover, let's go. Give me some 75s.
Amazing.
There it is. A nice little win right there again, guys. So I don't know what we'll do, but we'll just go with Catapult because that's what's happening right now. A lot of these names going nicely for us here on a Monday. What's up,
V?
Hey guys, many traders on the chat talk about SNDL. Stock is up around 10%. Do you guys see any opportunities for yourself in Sundial today?
Oh, don't even say it. You know, does anyone really want to short Sundial heading into 420? I mean, I might. Sorry, just going to go with the money walker there because there's 166 on GameStop. We'll have to take that win. I mean, it just feels like it's the right thing to do. So oddly enough, Sundial was one of those. It's been a stock that I've essentially only. I shouldn't say only because there was a brief period of time where I was actually going long on this thing every now and then. But when it tests $1, everyone here who's watched the show knows that I'm going to be usually shorting off of that range. So as it creeps up, am I going to short it? Yes, because there's always just a ridiculous amount of resistance at that particular price. There's huge offers there. It usually gives you like one of these really, really good risk to reward ratios. But first look is going to be this 95 area because there was a bit of a consolidation lower when it cracked that dollar. There was a test back up to 95. So I'll take a crack before that dollar range, and it's going to be that 95 for me, guys. So yeah, I mean, selling into some of the strength. I know it's 420, that's a thing, but it's price action that I care about here. Peloton's trying to roll over, but it's got to get back below like 110 for me to be really celebrating that one. I want to see this back at like that 107 to 109 range.
Man, like this is really starting to piss me off now here with Clover because, you know, like look where we got out. Like we got out at $1 ago. Man, we liked this long. We just took a 10 break again as we had an order sitting there. And then we just like, oh my God, we got long 10. We wanted to make sure we get a better average price. But here it goes. This is damn it. This could have been a monster for us guys today. Unfortunately, like I just said, we got out $1 ago. But hey, we're just going to continue to trade this name, get out, make that money back. We're at our highest spot we've been at all day. So it's raining down right now. It's just like how unfortunate, honestly, was this out right there. We basically made the very bottom. I told you about that 920 level. We'd make that mistake, but then we get right back in there, 933. It's just, we would be like infinitely monstrous right now if we still did have that. That's 15 cents in the money. Our NEO right now, 50 cents back in the money. So a good trade there for NEO. We did get some out on the downside. Remember where we're long. So let's see if it does take out highs again. But yeah, damn it. We were so darn close to making that, guys. That was a good one on Clover. Still so happy, man. Like we took a 10 break and now we're just ripping up. So good trade here for Clover. Like I said, we're at our highest spot all day. Join the club, guys. It's free.
Yeah, back to that 1350 area, so you know what that's going to be. If we're going to, it's trying to test, and this is, sorry, CLNE here, guys, back to that 1350 area.
Holy
and once
shit.
again, a key price. So I just rolled back into some shorts of it. I still had some from that 85 range, but if it wasn't going to test VWAP, then we got to make sure we're testing this particular level here at 1350. It was a key one. It's been relatively weak, and just to go, there was also that AMBO, AMBO. That's over on the Amex, which we didn't have the shorts of. It is trying to get back to 3. This would 100% be, if I had to share short, this would be like a 285 area short for me, 100%. But we don't have the locates on it, so there's not much I can do about it. GameStop, it looks like maybe, and just maybe, that 165 isn't the support that I thought it was. I got out in front of it on the short side of the trade. There is the pre-market low, 163.50 here, that I do think is maybe a bit of a bigger level. If that breaks, we could think about the short. If it pops into 175 again, I do like the short one more time, but I would take it closer to 175 and not 170, what we had before, guys. Again, Peloton tests 110. It goes like $1, $1.50 in the money. It's been that much against me. It needs to break below that 110 for me to be really celebrating it. And I just got into Sundial. Remember, I know it's not at $1, but the first test is 95.
So I know Neil had, good look on Sundial. I mean, Sundial with 420 coming, I don't think that has anything to do with it, but
it's psychological, man.
Yeah, it's psychological, that's for sure. If you guys are buying stock based on what day it is, that's a little crazy. There's Coinbase there. We talked about that 328. Did it hold? Did it ever hold? Neil had that. I mean, look how much better can you write down this level than right there, 328. Unfortunately, we were too busy Smash City, everything else. But Coinbase, that was a good hold, man. Now we look to break to the upside. We got, wow. Yes, that was nice. I still think Coinbase breaks, man. So what is this, 334.50? That could be a good little long there for coin. So 334.50, we'll look at that. That's coming up, so I got to make my mind up soon. Maybe even a 334 break should be pretty good as well. But right now, yeah, I mean, we're just cruising, man. CCL is about to get out. If it breaks through 27.25, we will get out of CCL and just, make that mistake. So, we hit it. We're trying to go short into that high of the day. We'll see if it breaks through 27.25. We're only short now 0.1, so it'll be a hit, but it's nowhere near. I told you this breakout trade was on our board, so we take breakouts a little more when we've been looking at them. So that was a big trade to the downside. CCL, still my number one stock. That's a lie. I think it's NEO, as NEO continues to go upside now. 65 cents in the money, man. That's a chicken dinner winner for you guys on NEO. We take the break. It makes that move down, typical NEO, and then we break to the high side. So yeah, we're loving life over here right now, guys, as CCL does resist. It's
squeeze time on Sundial, so first time through it's going to break. I just got back in at 96.3, and then here's the problem. I'm going to show you Peloton. It's not an iceberg. But I can tell you, if you see it on level 2, it gets to like that 110 area, and we're short. And we had an average price of 111.30. Every time I get out, it improves my price. I was shorting up in the 12s as well. But every time it gets down to this 110, I'm telling you, there's just buyers stepping out of this one and then bouncing back to the upside. So might have to give this one a little bit more time to try to push back to the downside. And Sundial looking relatively strong into that dollar. I'm starting again in front of one even, Brendo.
All right, we were asking what was going to happen with Tesla in the pre-market. The answer, downside. 700 coming here, guys. That was a huge level going back a month ago. It held as resistance for quite some time. So will we test 700 on Tesla?
I don't know if we will. I'm trying to get my Palantir chart to go up here because I do like this little break. Wow, NEO, guys. I mean, NEO just huge right now, in the money like crazy for me now. Over 71 cents. I like this 22.26 level there on whatever this name is. Oh, there it is. Right, wrong stock. PLTR. I had it up on another screen. 22.26. Let's just see about a break right there on Peloton or Peloton. Too many P's today. 22.25. We're gonna see if we can break that, and then we'll go upside. We can use 22 as our resistance spot there. But I like Palantir on a break. It looks like it's gotten a little strong off that 22 bounce. So let's give it some room, but we're gonna take this break through 22.26, guys.
Yeah, and just another out here, and we're going to go with don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, every single pop on that CLNE has given me a good chance to get either like a 20 to 30 cent scalp, or a couple of times if you got a really fluky. I mean, this is almost a fluky price. Like I wanted to sell into that 14 range, but I got 90s up here because it was a massive spike. Could easily have been like a 75, 80 short. So you're seeing like every 25 to 30 cents, there is a bit of support on the stock. If we break through eventually down towards 13, I'll take another leg out there. And then of course we talked about those 12.30s. But Sundial just continues to show some strength in here. First initial short, missed stop 95. Sort of get out and get right back in it as it starts to roll over. It does make this like one little wick up here. And you look at these crazy wicks and comebacks. I mean, it's still in that finder's phase where I think it's trying to find a little bit of liquidity. Now, this is just level 2 not switching for me. It's going to be a little bit deceiving when you see levels like this. It's done 70 million shares already. Trust me when I tell you, that's not a level. 98, like you see like a few 100,000 shares there, entirely meaningless on Sundial when it's going to do like a push to a buck and when it's going to do like 70 million shares. I mean, if I show you something that has a few million shares on it, a couple million, that's going to be a big level. Will a dollar have that? I don't know. We're going to find out, I think, relatively shortly, but I'm not averaging in until I get a look at it.
Okay, so CCL now, here we go. Now we're flat at 12 right now. Now it goes down to 8. So a nice little trade there for us. How come I didn't get that Palantir long here? I don't know what just happened there. We should have got that long. Maybe I do have it, maybe I don't. Let me just refresh here on PLTR. We should have that one, we don't. Okay, so I got to get into that one. I don't know what happened with my order type there. Let's just bid a little bit here at 25, see if we get long through there. But I do like that price, 25 on PLTR. So if we get that, we should have had it. I must have put my order in wrong there. But Clover now 31 cents up. Our best out is right here, 38, 39s. That's probably something to look at. So let's do that and have a quick look to see where we are on Clover. I mean, that 50 was pretty high. We've already broken out. This is a wicked breakout to the upside today off of that very bottom that we got wicked out on. So a nice little move back to the upside. Now NEO, $1 and change now in the money as we continue to move upside. Look where we're long, guys, 36.49 here on NIO. Look at that move. We talked about that. We talked about it breaking right there. What a strong move up for NIO today.
And wow, that's, thank you, Brendan. An interesting move from a Coke here. It does, and I'm going to kick myself over this because I said the only thing interesting about actually getting into Coke today would be if it goes all the way down to 53 and then maybe you can pick it up on a day trade. Usually not a stock, it's going to be volatile enough for you. And then it does exactly that off the open. Is it wrong to be thinking about Peloton and GameStop and Coinbase? Probably not, because those are going to move for you almost every single day. And then the one day we do see something in Coke, and I find myself not looking at the long here. But I mean, if it's going to press $1 to the upside, right to the pre-market highs, when the market just started rolling over, I mean, am I going to take a crack at Coke here? 100% I'm going to. See if I can't pick some shares up. We just got Coke short at 54.30. I mean, risk to reward, it breaks 50s, I'm out. It comes back to VWAP. I'm getting 1.5 to 1 alone, and that's only back at 54 even. Yeah, okay, I'll take a crack at that. Short here in Coke. It should have been a long in front of that 53 quarter bottom that we talked about in our preparation, but it is what it is. I can't really second guess that choice because Coke isn't usually volatile.
Yeah, it's hard to second guess yourself sometimes when you're so busy. We're just so busy doing stuff here, guys. It's a tough one. So I may just get out of NIO here. It is kind of the high side there. There we go. We finally got into that Palantir. So no idea what happened there, but we got in at 25. Let's give this one a little bit of room at least. Normally, like I'd be looking to get this out even quicker than this, but I'm not even going to let this retest 25. I think 22.10 is good enough for me if we're going to be wrong. But this is another winner for us here on Palantir. So really happy with the way, obviously, this one's turning out for us. So Palantir now 4 cents in the money. It's not moving that much. So we'll wait to see where we're going to take that one out on. Maybe soon, maybe not. CCL right now as well. We did, as I was talking there, we did go down to 27 off of some of these shorts. You can see, like, when we're getting out below these purples, that's a good trade. So, winning trade to go here, but CCL still needs a little bit of work. I still think we could break through 27, but I wonder if I missed that opportunity there. So, not super happy without getting out there. Was talking too much about NEO and Palantir and whatnot, but we're going to wait to see at this bottom here. Good little price action there. Palantir, though, again, we're just going to keep doing what we do best on this name, and that is win. So we're going to take some more out here on Palantir. Shoot, we just missed it. It was up to 33 there. We thought we could get some out there. So not the truth, but we'll wait to see if it comes back up. That was an 8-penny winner there on PLTR off of 22.25, but we missed the out. So hopefully that does give us an opportunity to get out of this one at some point.
Yeah, I'm just watching, Coinbase. I love the fact that, and you'll like it too as a shareholder, Sean, that it doesn't even want to seem to break back down. This is the same thing that happened at 320. You got the one dip buy, and then that ended up being it. So if that's going to be the same thing again here this week, I suppose, I'll look to this 330 as maybe the next entry point. CLNE did pop back into the 60s, so I just got some more shares, but I want to hold off because it's starting to show a little bit of strength here, and I want to make sure that we get a good price if I'm going to be shorting into some strength. The CLNE pops off of those lows. Already 10 o'clock, already time to go to Brendan for Happening Now.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock. Let's get a look at North American markets. We're basically where we started in the pre-market this morning. The S&P still lower, but only just 0.17. The Dow 0.3. You can see the NASDAQ trying to get back to the upside here. 0.2 for both the composite and the 100. The Russell 0.24%. I was reading that the Russell's up 10% in the last 30 trading or 20 trading days. Crazy move for the Russell again. Here in Toronto, the TSX has gone positive, but we are back to negative ever so slightly here. Peloton, couple of things we were looking at in the pre-market here. 110 ends up being support here on this last little bounce. So watch Peloton there around 110. Lots of volume so far as expected for Peloton. And for solar, yeah, I mentioned it did break 84. That was about it, though. It's quickly back to 83.5 here. It needs to hold 83, or it could be in trouble for FSLR, guys.
All right, we are coming back. Yeah, thank you, Brendan, for that. We will look at FSLR. I'm just excited right now because we're starting to get out, finally, of our CCL as it's coming back to the downside. So it's not going to be a monster win, but I just want to take a piece out here. We just got another, look, this is how much we liked it. We took another average there. So we got more short at 16 when we threw the break there. And now we'll just cover it 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. You see the damage that we're doing on the board, man. It's quite obvious. So hopefully that can keep going. Unfortunately, Palantir, we get some out at 30, guys, but that's nothing. Looks like it's breaking back down below. So we will get out if this does crack below this 22.10. Looks like it's going to happen here. I'm only going to take a small hit. I don't want to let this thing go through 22 because if it does, then really where do I get out? I think if we crack 22, we definitely touch this little bottom wick and then we'll start to build a position back up here. So it's going to be a loser. We're 10 cents out right now on Palantir. We did have a 10-cent winner on it. Well, 8 cents. So it wasn't fantastic. But this one, again, we're not going to hold this until the cows come home, that's for sure. And then another play here, NEO. It looks like it just made a bouncing spot there, so this may be a good spot to tick out, 37.15. But I'm still pretty strong on NEO here. So let's wait to see. I'd rather average in if we get back down here, but it is falling. Look at the market. Yeah, so Palantir is going to come out soon because this market falling down here. We got to find some shorts. CCL, definitely worth it. We're holding that one. Let's see if we get even a lower tick on CCL, guys.
Yeah, we're going to go toilet bowl action, flush occurring. Another VWAP, so not bounce, but rejection on CLNE. Like we said, every time going to get back in that 50 to 60 range. We're going to take it when it goes 20 cents in the money where it consolidates. That's going to work to the downside. Like Sean just said, the market's starting to roll over. It's going to help. I knew the names that we wanted to the short side. Again, I'm not happy with myself over missing out on Coke, but it is what it is. You can only trade so much, like 4 or 5 positions at the open can be a lot sometimes. 510, I just got some out 10s and 15s. I'll get another leg out here in front of 54. Give it a shot to break down even further if it does show some extra weakness there. And then, of course, for those of you playing the 420 game, there's Sundial. First short, yak. We end up getting back in, and this is the problem. I should have actually had this short at 97.50, but as I was telling you guys how that was not much of an offer at 98, turns out it was actually not so bad. I mean, it's only 300,000 shares into 70 million in volume, yet it turns the stock anyway. So I don't get into the consolidation below 96 to get myself an average price of 96 even. If it tests a VWAP, I'll try to get some shares out. Well, I'm likely to get some shares out, and then see if it can't short a pop again. Very, very strong. I'll admit it here. Sundial for now is very, very strong. It has yet to really test that $1 mark, but 98, that interesting level. I can only call it interesting because there wasn't that much of an offer there, but managed to turn it around. And again, on this stock, I always start thinking about taking profit at the 1 to 1.5% mark, and then 2. And then if you can get 5 to 10%, you've got to be very, very happy, especially on a day where it's up and looking strong. And I know there's going to be buyers going in today and tomorrow, but $1 is a big level here in Sundial anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, always those psychological levels, guys, monstrous, that's for sure. Okay, so Palantir, it's still going to the downside. We did clear some out there. We talked about that once it broke through this. So now we'll wait to see. We did take a little bit of an average there. We'll wait to see now where it goes, but we're very, very light. We talked about getting some more shares down here, and I told you once 22 breaks, we probably get down to here, and then we just got to use like 22.75 as our out. The NASDAQ's crashing right now, so that makes sense to me why this is going downside. So we'll just wait to see if we can't capture some little bids down in here, man, 21.90, something like that. We'll see about where our average price is going to wind up at that point. Probably 22-ish if we can catch that long. So then we'll be fine. We'll see if we can work it back to VWAP. But right now, in a tanking market, you got to be careful of all of your positions, not just Palantir. So and then there's really no size there at 22 either. NEO, man, we should have got out at the high side. We only have 10% left. So this is a nothing move for me, but we'll see if it holds 37 on the downside. Wow, the ES just falling off right now, guys. 20-cent winner in CCO.
There goes 700 on
Brendo?
Tesla, yeah.
Speaking of falling off, guys, just noticed Chewy here. This looks a little more dramatic than I think it is, but 84 down to 82 here on volume for Chewy.
Yeah, so look, I mean, obviously, when you get a move like this in the market, I can show you, Coke's going to come all the way back in for me. This is again just finding stock which isn't usually volatile, and is it going to likely to hold the top after a move like that? Yeah, you get that rubber band action. I can tell you, in all of this weakness, I mean, Peloton sits here and again holds 110, so that's frustrating me a little bit at least. But that CLNE, basically every single short that I'm going to hold on to is going to be good. This just broke down to 13.15, so we're able to get now 40-cent win on that trade. If it breaks 13, I want to make sure I'm hanging on. And we talked about this test in the pre-market. Maybe it gets to like 12 to 12.50 or so, and that'd be an ultimate target. I mean, I do expect there's going to be buying on CLNE down to that 12.25 range, not just people covering shorts like myself, but I think there's going to be some legitimate buyers down there.
So CCL, we just covered that out. And just to let you guys know, we are a little bit longer now on NIO. So let's wait to see. We just took some bids there. Oh, we only took one bid? I thought I took more. Okay, but anyways, no, there's 2 fills in there, I think. Yeah, I think there's 2 fills anyways. 37.10, 37.11, it doesn't matter. It's all the same price. We will wait for a little bit lower here because this market right now, I don't know. I mean, was there anything here? I'm not sure. I don't really see anything other than the fact that the market now cracking down that 0.6 and moving lower right now. So we got to watch out for these shorts, man. We do have our NEO outs coming through soon, so this may be worth it. We do have some bids low side as well. There we go. We just picked up some 04s. This market's cracking, so we're going to have to wait. Man, if we break back down below this 80, 85, we're going to be out of NEO. Not going to sit on this trade. So NEO's been my biggest stock today. That and CCL. I mean, they're all quite nicely today, but we'll wait to see what NEO wants to do. As here we go, man, cracking lower and lower and lower. Some of these NASDAQ names just getting destroyed right now, guys. There's NEO, we're out.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm sitting here and watching. Peloton broke 110, then immediately comes right back. I just got to start taking that one off if it's going to show me that profit. So I took more shares out in front of 110. It just doesn't want to go. Sundial, the rollover is below VWAP now. If this is it and it doesn't give me a pop back into that 96, 97 range, it is what it is. I got to take profit on the way downside here. I do expect 90 to maybe have a bit of a bid, so it would behoove me behoove. Why am I using school words? It would make a lot of sense for me to take some shares off in front of that 90. So I got to get some orders down there. And again, this is going to do a boatload of shares today. So there's going to be all kinds of support levels that will sort of crop up. Hopefully I can just sort of sit in that one. It'll be like Coke and that CLNE looking rather weak. Lordstown, on the other hand, despite the bad news, I mean, if you pull out of a race or don't finish a race with the endurance gear, not a good look, but it's still holding up these levels. That 9 even has been tested twice, and for some reason it looks like they're not going to want to sell through that one. So Lordstown catching a bit of a bid, so it doesn't look like I can short this name.
Okay, so we've averaged in now. As things continue to fall, we did get out of our NEO, but we're back in it, and we're into Palantir right now. We took another bid just where we said we would, and I said my average price would be around 22.04. So a nice little drop down here for Palantir. I don't want it to drop down, but we did pick up that bid right into this teeth. So let's see what we got. You got anything for us on this move at all, Brent?
Just looking at, no, there's not seeing any headlines, but just looking for some relative strength. If we do get a bounce here, guys, some of the banks holding up a little bit. Morgan Stanley here coming into 79. Was a bit of a level last week after a lot of good earnings from the group. Some of the banks still positive, guys.
I mean, I'm looking at Wells Fargo here, like right at 44. Look at this hold. Look at this test and hold. The market is crashing, and Wells is just like holding the line at 14 even on relative strength. And like I'm saying to myself, I mean, if we're gonna turn around, like I guess this is not a bad spot, but it's right on the precipice of just sort of rolling over and giving you like 75s and 80s. And look, I mean, long way around is saying like I'd much rather it break. You're getting a price of 15 to maybe even 30 cents better on a day trade if we break downside and the market keeps going, as opposed to trying to pick the bottom. So I'm going to hang on to the short trades that I have and be very patient with any of these longs or trying to pick them up. And speaking of being patient, I don't know. And this is like it was the same thing with missing the Coke bottom, but. Sort of Tesla through that 713 to 715 area. We go through all the names that we like, but I can tell you right there, if you're trading Clover, which I'm down on, and you're trading CLNE, which is going well, and you're trading your Pelotons and Coinbase and GME at the same time, there's just no way you're adding Tesla short to that kind of a risk profile. It makes no sense, but yeah, that was the level we like, that 13 to 15. It breaks. Now we're thinking about where can you actually buy a bit of a dip here in Tesla. And there's 666 we like. There is that 680 level, neither of which is close. So it's basically the market falling, and we'll have to see where a good entry point is when it settles down on Tesla. But I don't really have anything until we get to that low 80 range.
Yeah, and the only short, I mean, we don't have any shorts really on other than CCLs. That's a 20-cent win there. We just danced around with NEO here a little bit. We didn't do too much. We talked about this. We got out there and then we tested again this 36.78 level there. We went long again and then got out on a 75 break. So this was like a 4-cent worth of risk there, but we did put on big boy shares in case we did get going back to the upside. So let's just keep our money in our pocket right now as far as NIO is concerned, because this one is a falling sword, basically straight to the downside, similar to the way the NASDAQ looks. I think if you get back above VWAP, then we could take this thing long. I like the NEO long. You've seen it just accelerate to the upside many times. So 36.90 could be hold 36.60. I think we'll test it again, 36.60. Let's just try a little long now on NEO and see if that works. Palantir, though, nice rebound to the upside. I think it's foolish not to take something off here, as that's been working out well for us. So NEO to the long side and Palantir to the long side. Let's just see if some of these bids will hold. Who knows, guys? There it is. We just got into NEO right now. 36.72. We're going to give it back to 36.60. See if that holds.
Yeah, and another one from last week, just to get a note here, because I glanced over at the chat and it's like Cat Fonglore. I don't know. That's an interesting name there. Pointing out that QS also moving to the downside, and there's another breakdown. There's no levels on QuantumScape until what? 30 even, I suppose. And then if you get any lower than that, like a 28.50 handle, so a 28.50 price. I mean, it's getting pretty thin on this name. I don't think I would try to pick anything up on this falling sword, but a good one to watch. If it does get another breakdown here, I'd be watching to see if that 30 even area is maybe somewhere that a defense could get mounted. Peloton again trying to break that 110. I'm just sort of staring at it and wanting it to fall. It's going to be in the money, but trust me when I tell you, if I want to risk $2.50, that thing needs to get down to 108 before I'm going to like it a little better. I'm just looking at QuantumScape here and thinking to myself, if it does make any kind of a bounce, I mean, this market starts to come back, there is some good rubber band action that could get played, whether it's like your QS, whether it's like Tesla. I was also looking at Wells Fargo here. In Wells, and again, this is a 15-minute chart. This is where we're at that 14 level. It's still holding it. I guess we're not going to get that little dump that would give you a better price. All kinds of strength last week, of course, across all the banks. It might be worth it to just. I'm just going to pick some up here in front of 14. I was going to be waiting. If I could on Wells Fargo, sorry, here we are, for a bit of a flush, and maybe it would give you a better price down in like the 75 to 80 area. For now, seems like that's not the case. So maybe this is where the good place is to go long off the bottom is in some of these banks. I want to pick something up in front of 14s. I'd rather 3s, 4s, and 5s. If all I can get is like maybe like 6, 7 or something like that, I might start to position a little higher. But the banks are showing some strength, and look, the ES is still on the low. The NASDAQ still testing lows. It feels like the safe place is the banks, I guess.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, the banks are going to be the safe place to go, and for me, that makes a lot of sense just because of everyone rotating out of NASDAQ names, right, back into some value instead of growth. And we talked about that. That's been happening for a bit. There we go. 2204 is our best out there. We talked about taking this long right there on Palantir. We talked about getting here, getting out. We missed that 33. It was there for us. We had offers once we saw it and then missed it. Comes all the way back down, defend there, out. Now we'll wait to see, like I said, like right there, in and then out. That's like a 5-cent hit. Now we're long 91s and getting out. I mean, it's not pretty because the NASDAQ's, it's not bouncing, right? And so we're probably going to wind up taking a hit here on Palantir, but we do want to get more in that name. And I told you we didn't want to turn negative on NEO. But look at this stock is turning itself negative. We tried it again off that 60, see if we can hold in here. It doesn't. So now basically, do we get that very bottom that we had last time again, 36.48? I mean, maybe we'll try that right now. I don't know. I mean, we could play it off to 48. We'll take a long there now. So now we're long NEO 36.50. Just trying to play off some of these bottoms. But I mean, this market may just crash on us here. So it's going to be a slippery slope if you're playing these longs like I've been trying. What's up, B?
One definitely not crashing. Digital Ally Incorporated just noted made a day high there on volume as well. So big time volume up 10 point, almost 12%, guys, for DGLY.
I'm trying to find something I like that I can pick up. I mean, Digital Ally, a strong look there. I did miss Wells Fargo because it popped into the 10s and then the low teens there as I tried to get that long in front of 44. I'm just watching back to Clover. Sometimes the best trade you make is going to be getting out. Took that short at 68, 69, and when like 75 broke out, I take that out. There was a breakout price the first time. I'm going to get out of a short, whether I take the break or not, the second time through. We're basically back at the same level. So you're watching like 975 again. Now this usually would be an all systems go, like short at the same price. If it breaks out, makes a fresh high, then immediately comes back and snaps back in. I usually work the same position that I did before. Last time I got like 68, 69. I don't know if that's going to be the case here today. And yes, I see you, Sundial, trying to make a move to the upside. I'm going to get into some of that Clovis. Again, 75 is going to be the out. Yeah. I see you, Sundial, trying to make a bit of a bounce here. Back into that 95-ish area. It doesn't quite get to 96 now. My last entry point was below 96 and above it here for an average price. So my price will get worse as I get out instead of better. If we can hold 95, I think I'd work back into some shorts, but I got to move my stop down. If it breaks 95 here, I kind of feel like it's going to get that test of a buck. And if I ever make a mistake on Sundial, it's like mounting a defense, I mean shorting it in front of $1 and starting it too early. And the last time I got blown out, the difference was, I'm not even kidding you, it was 97.5 as an overall short instead of 98.5. And that was the difference between losing like half your day and like a third, which I think is reasonable risk in terms of risk. Anyways, that's Sundial. It's a penny stock, so 1% matters when it comes to risk return.
Yes, everything. I mean, everything all the time, I think, matters. Like, no matter what your risk sort of parameters are, guys, just make sure that you're trading accordingly, and you know, like, where your sort of your pressure points are, right? Like your pain points, like how much profit you need before you're out of a trade and whatnot. All of that, obviously, super, super important. Palantir, I'm not at that level yet, but I'm surprised I didn't have any bids down there, so I've just put some more bids there. I don't know what the heck my problem was. We should have had some offers on the downside there for sure on Palantir, so missed that. I'm just getting some orders ready to go. NEO, we did take a long, and you did see we were able to get some out there as well, so that's working out for us on that high side. I'm just so busy looking at everything. We only got a little bit out at 70 there, so that was definitely a mistake there. We should have got more out when this did pop through, so unfortunately we held that. Now we're going to wait to see if it tests the bottom. I knew this name was weak, man. We should have just cleaned out of that one a long time ago. That's my bad there on NIO. We had an opportunity to get out at 70 when we were long 58. I mean, what's our price? We're long this price right now, 55, 56. So maybe this is, if I'm going to sit here and talk about it, might as well get some more out. Let's offer some 61s. There it is. We'll get out there again. So there it is. Let's wait to see how high this can fly. But I'm getting a little nervous now because every single move up, we're not really rocketing as much as I thought. But then any move down, like we get that opportunity. Like we just bought 50s there on that dip. So Neo right now, a nice little win to the upside. But guys, don't count your chickens before they hatch. This market feels like it's going to tank even harder.
Chickens. Why not? Anyways, that's just me being an idiot. Tesla's trying to get back above 700 here. Can't seem to do it, guys. But I look at the market trying to bounce. I feel like a Tesla 700 break isn't the worst idea. You made the flush. It wasn't that 680 level that I like, but if we're going to consolidate down here after a flush down, it is a setup I like. So I'm going to go with like a 700 break on Tesla and just see if this isn't the long that we're going to be able to work off of here, guys. So I don't want to chase it too far. I'm not crossing up to like 701 or anything, but if I can get a good price on a break, I'm going to take it here on Tesla. And I haven't traded it yet, obviously, but the first one is going to be a long break. I can't get married to the idea that I missed a great short that I really liked on Tesla. You got to be able to move on and go to the next best thing, which is going to end up being this long break. I just got out, and I'll do the same thing I did before, which is try to have a bit of a tight stop in Clover. I might hold on to an average into CLNE a little bit more aggressively than Clover Health here, just because I think there's a lot more risk involved in the short in Clover than there is in CLNE at this point. So tight stops for me in that particular name, and to the big screen for you guys for Small Cap Recap with Brennan.
Hey guys, yeah, small cap time. Let's have a look at a few names we were talking about in the pre-market here. This one popped up on, there was Workhorse as well. Multiple kind of negative sentiment stories coming for both Lords, ride the stock, but also Workhorse. 950 is what I'm trying to say. 950 was the high in the pre-market here. It did give you a test of that just before the open. That was the trade, I think. Trying to be really patient with this, but we'll see what happens if we get anywhere close back to that 950 on Lordstown. Let's move on. EHang, one from last week, if you remember. This support area coming into play right now, which is 25 from back on Friday. If we do get below that, might give you a little bit more of a push on EHang, but another one very weak so far today. ANPC, I mentioned 625. Above that, there wasn't much. Never even came close. Very, very weak as well. Down to 525 now for ANPC. Guys, back to you.
Oh, I hate your guts, Wells Fargo. This is what happens when I, should have just got in when it first consolidated at 44. Would have given you that nice little push into the high of the day. I'll buy the dip again if I can here on Wells Fargo, if it gives it to me. Obviously, there's no guarantees we're going to get that price, but that's what I'm going to wait for. I want long in front of 44. I kind of don't want to do anything else. In the back of my mind, I'm sort of filing away that there might have been a missed opportunity here in U.S. Steel. Just going to quickly show you the 15-minute chart. As it did give you this great consolidation and then sort of roll over right at this like 23, like high 23 area. I'd probably play a little defense because the ES showing some strength here, not the NASDAQ. Either way, Tesla's approaching that 700 break point. Looks like the long is going to be first in Tesla, not Wells Fargo for me, which is a bit odd. CLNE, every single pop that it does, I'm looking for a bit of a short. It's going to quickly show you here, though, on the 15-minute chart, if I can. There you go. This little chop area, like 1290 into like 1315, like that previous resistance is turning out to be the current support. So that's the area for me to be taking aggressively profits if I can get 50s and 60s short. So I want to rinse and repeat that action. I still want to try to hold for the 12s, but I can't ignore the fact that, hey, if there was price acceptance in area before, you get it again on the way back to the downside. So we're seeing that in CLNE.
Okay, yeah, look, I'm doing the same kind of thing right now on Palantir as we look to take out some profits. Like, we just bought down here 2190, and then you rip up right to VWAP again. Those are like clear outs for that. So we're going to floss off a little bit of a win here on the long side for Palantir there. So, it's been a good stock for us. We're not down, good trade. We'll see what happens if it can take out the highs. I'm sitting down here. Just unbelievable that we didn't have any orders down here when this tested. We should have. So we have orders now back at 90 for Palantir. We'll see if that can work out for us. I do like CCL. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Back in the money a little bit on CCL. Clover's bouncing around here. Like, I really like this 980 break. So if we can get above 980, we like that. But looks like we're going to break back down below 950 now. So Clover in this area, fine. But we are testing that bottom again. Give it to them, Brendo.
Cricket Incorporated, guys. This comes up in the specialty retailing group. It's a technology company, but all I can see is Citigroup initiated coverage on this stock today with a huge price target. But huge move here, 13% on the day. It's above 22.50, trying to hold as support. So not everything weak, guys.
No.
I mean, a lot is weak, but I like the fact that it's not exactly everything. Yeah, I know it is what it is, but I'm going to do this one for you guys, and we're going to strut. It's sundial. It is the first entry point. I don't like it at all. I didn't add where I would have liked to normally, and I told you guys the reason why. I'm like, it was a weak 98 order that actually, a set of orders that turned this one around here, and I didn't necessarily believe in it. I thought it would test higher. It didn't do so, so I didn't average into it until it got to the downside. That's averaging up instead of averaging down, I guess. It just broke through this 92, at least attempted to, so I get more shares out. And again, if you're short 95, 96, and you're not happy with 91s and 92s, taking some profit off, you should be. I thought there'd be support at 90. That looks like it's so far going to be the case. I can tell you that Tesla did not make that break. I mean, obviously, if I'm not long, then you know it didn't break 700. Still consolidating here, still gearing up. As the market is coming back, it's mostly the ES as the NASDAQ is lagging, but Tesla is making a valiant hold down here. If it breaks 700, I think there's a scalp into 705. I'd take the first leg out wherever it stalls, whether it's a couple of bucks, maybe 3, and then see if 705 break can't be a hold. Brendan?
Petco, guys, woof, just popped up here on volume spike. So another one showing a lot of relative strength here, coming up 5%. There are some levels to watch out for above us. There's nothing significant that I can see as far as headlines are concerned. They're talking about trying to get some employees back in the office and back to work once again following the pandemic, but woof, having a nice day.
You can see Wolf is still down pretty huge from its IPO price there, 26, I think, and then downside. Okay, here we go, NEO. So we're going to try this, man. We're going to see if we can't fire off some kind of hot dog cannons. We're just going to wait to see. I think we got to get back to 36.60, 36.70. I don't want to get out of any of this. Maybe we've picked the bottom here, so we'll hold out on that one. But we are excited for Palantir because here we go, back to the upside, a nice little long here. 18 cents in the money rate on this one. Clover Health we're looking at. Let's check out Facebook quickly. How far did it drop down on that move? 303. Okay, it probably got much further than that. Not really. That's a pretty good hold there for Facebook, believe it or not. This is a 1 minute chart. Holds that 302 and change. You can see here on a daily chart that high, 330 cents. The other day we dipped down below 300. So I think on any more NASDAQ weakness here, you could probably pick up some Facebook on the low side, like 303, 302. Pretty happy with that one if it can go. There goes Palantir. Nice little 20 cents. Oh, we just took it out there. That's why we took some out there at 13. So 20 cents in the money. And look, NASDAQ, this is what I want to talk about right now with NEO. NASDAQ here, bounce, 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 right? We've already made their bottom. It's already bounced up right back to where we were at about 910 or so. Well, it'd be 1010. And if you see NEO, no bounce at all. Like we should be back in here, man. 50s or 60s for NEO. No bounce at all. If anything, it's looking lower. So this one's got me a little scared. We break back down below 36, I'm gone. Like we've not been very patient with it. It's been a good trade. Look how many executions we have. Already 211 fills for us today. So it's been a good one. And I want to say a big shout out to Shakib and everybody else that's part of Hydration Nation. Let's keep that water going. There it is there. Make sure you're drinking your water, have your vitamins, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll make some trades together, guys.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna immediately get a breakout trade, and if it doesn't go right away, as much as I'm willing to scalp into that initial dip, sort of that dip price in Tesla, this was like that one, 702, 705 area. That's where first target would be. If it can't even press into that price, and I'm sitting there teetering back and forth $1, I'm gonna trim the position, take off half, and then I'll hold the rest just to see if we can't get a more extended move. It's gonna mean probably looking for more like the $5 winner here. But when it shows me that much resistance, I have to walk away from it. I can tell you in the other direction, it's finally happened. This is gonna be it. This is going to be 107. This is going to be the out on Peloton, the rollover I was looking for. I still have that 107 sort of breakdown. If it breaks low of the day, I want to take the trade. So I think that's two separate ideas. I want to make sure that's also two separate trades. So I'm going to throw that one. I'm going to throw that order back in because I don't know where it honestly went. I thought I had it before, but I had to roll into this as Peloton. There was like a forever buyer at 110 that finally broke. I think 107 is going to be a bit of a kill spot. If it gets there, breaks, I'm going to take another short, maybe a bit of a tighter stop on that, and then see if it tests down to that 100, which we always thought was going to be a possibility. I feel like it was the right call to get out of that Tesla, at least half of it, as it couldn't seem to break out from that 700. It was certainly a good look to pick up the long. Whoops, you don't want to see a daily chart. It was a good idea to pick up the long at 44 on Wells Fargo. I just didn't do it. When Brendan mentioned relative strength in the banks, you sort of find one that you know has been a good trade last week. They kind of all were in their own regard, but Wells Fargo had some strength around 44. It gave you that entry price. It was the only thing that was looking strong in the market. I just missed my shot, Brendo.
It's a little bit thinly traded, but MicroStrategy, guys, leading, it seems anyways, for weakness on the crypto front. Bitcoin, worth noting, trying to roll over here as well, but 640 here, just let go. Day lows for MSTR.
Yeah, I'm noticing that about Bitcoin here, trying to give up some of their highs or some of their gains so far today. So we will look at that one, guys, in a minute. So NEO, I'm finally, we'll see if we're going to make our last stand here. We took some bids down here near 36. We talked about trying to hold this one all the way down. So I think we should maybe take something out here, get some out to 27s. We just took out some 25s or 26s. And again, we always play off the quarters. So us being long here at 25 is no surprise. But I'm just wondering if we just sort of clean up our mistakes here. Like we were long 30, then we got long 21, and then we got a little long there at 15. So we're just trying to get some out here. I would love to hold this for the upside. And I know I've been saying like we love NEO, but I mean, we've just noticed here in the last, I mean, even if we call up a 3-minute chart, it's just been tank city. I mean, we're just going to the downside here, just straight up. Like, you know, we bought the dip here, about to break out there, and it was working. We didn't get out any at the high side there, but this was a great trade. And then just average in. We've been giving everything back all the way down. So trade this with a little bit of caution, but we are now long at 24 right now. So that's where we're at. So hopefully this can get going. Back to a 1-minute chart here on that name. Oh, I did want to talk about GameStop quickly. That's not GameStop. This is GME right now. Here we go. I'm going to go long right now. A break back above 175. I like it.
No.
Let's see if we can get that long now on GameStop.
No.
And then just give it back to like 172. A 172.50 break. Well, wrong. We'll give it back to 172, but we're going to try to get long GameStop on this break. If it happens through 175, we're going to go long.
I'm kidding here. I said no under my breath. May Keith have mercy on my soul here because, look, 175 came again. When I see a failed breakout, like it ticked above 175 and then comes back in, that's just a setup that I'm going to like here, so I catch it on the way back down. I am short at 174.38 on GameStop. I did have that rollover at 170 that's worked. Look, I'm just going to play the price action. I'll take some out in front of this little dip, 172.75, and then in the rest, probably targeting view up here, but I'm not going to let it break that 175 a second time here. Brendan?
All right, it is 10:30. That means in just over 1 hour, we are going to do our bi-weekly Q&A. Guys, for members Q&A coming up right after the show. Make sure you take a second. Join up if you have not already, but you get us for 45 minutes. Ask us whatever you want. We'll talk about whatever you want, trades, ideas, markets, things of that nature. Join us right after the show, guys. Mark Roberts coming through as well for the Q&A once again this week. Let's, while we're at it, get a check on European markets. There's 1 hour to go in the session over in Europe. What's up, Miss V?
Hey, Brendan, European markets are negative. French automaker Forcier reported better than expected first quarter sales. Despite that, stock is down more than 3%. Back to you.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic, I guess. Good word for markets today, guys.
I guess, I mean, cautiously, I don't know. What are we on the ES right now? We're down 0.3. The NASDAQ, we're down 0.6. So, cautiously optimistic, I would say, is probably accurate, but it looks like we're a little more red than green today for sure. I think CCL, we're just right near this point here. We can have another look at this name, but I don't know. NASDAQ rebounds, CCL rebounds a little bit as well, up to 27 and change. We did touch that bottom there. This was one of my biggest trades, probably the biggest trade that I had today off the open. We loved smashing that right off the open and got that 50 cents. Now we're battling back. So I'll take one more shot here at CCL.
And stop, drop, shut them down. Let's get a scalp and see in GameStop. When you have a chart that looks like this, which is hold the bottom unbelievably well, sort of consolidate in every single dip and then break the high and you're up 12%, you might want to be very careful when you're shorting it. So wait for the rollover. It's 175. I'm going to get the first little scalp in. I probably celebrated too early there. I don't know if I'll get the second leg in front of that 171. I can tell you that's working, but the gut instinct for me there on gut instinct on Tesla to trim the position looks like it's going to be wholesale wrong, as we are testing into VWAP. And the reason why I want to take some more shares off in this range is if it's going to be a rebound day on Tesla, I kind of feel like reclaiming the original level I like, that 713, 715 might be the better play. Either way, Tesla does bounce to the upside. It is in the money. I have not taken the profit yet, and maybe I should at least consider doing that, but you know, it is what it is. I want to see if we can't get in front of VWAP in that 705 area at least. CLNE, I missed this, and this is going to be while I was trading GameStop. I just saw that little pop in there. I mean, Peloton just cracked 107, so I got back into the short on that, and I got into Tesla, which means I'm going to miss this chance to get more shares here at 1350 on CLNE. I can tell you just a little bit more weakness in this name than I've seen in Clover, so you're probably going to see me short this as opposed to Clover Health.
Okay, we just took a little bit more off. It's been a roller coaster here for NIO as we just took what? I don't think that got to 54 there. I don't have any offers out, and if it did, wow, I missed that one, but I don't think so. NEO wicked up there to 50, probably didn't get there, but we're taking some off now, 33. We did average in here. We did talk about it, one last stand down to 36, so a good trade for us now as it goes 20 plus cents in the money. Stupid not taking some of this out, I think. So we'll take some out there. I cancel my 41s and wait for some 38s there. Oh, come on. Give me it. Nah, we're not going to get it. It's going to go upside there, so we miss out on that one. And we also did not take any CCL short. Meant to look at that. Didn't really give it too much of a good look. 27.30 would be the out if we did get that. Did I? Oh, man, I can't believe. Did I get that? No, I didn't get that. I was waiting for that 40 there when it ripped up. We should have hit the offer or hit the bid instead of offering out there. Let's see if it comes out. Here it comes. We're offering 38s right now. So, Martin, it stopped there again. So we'll wait to see. I think Bank's probably a good spot for us as well. Clover, I want to go long if it breaks this 80. So we're waiting for that to come through. Other than that, man, I mean, Afria, ACB moving around a little bit today. As Batman will make an appearance tomorrow for sure. CLNE, we traded that really great today. Long here, long there, all out. Our last 10% comes out for a little bit of a loser, but CLNE right now also near its bottoms. 13 is the bottom for this name, guys, CLNE.
Oh, that's going to be, so anyways, this is going to show purple. This is me covering Tesla here at the top. Now, if I had 705 short, I'd be in the money dollar. I do not. I just got out at VWAP there. This is not as strong a move as I was anticipating on Tesla, so I'll be very happy to take the profit where it lies. Just to come back to a couple of names and sort of recap the positions here. Coke did make another push into VWAP. Now, when I saw this happening, the market was flushing, right? So at that point, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to test down 53.70. It's not the most volatile name, so I can feel comfortable sitting short in front of the high of the day on Coke, knowing that it's very unlikely of all the stocks here that it's going to press through and I'll be in trouble. But I'm going to adjust my stop order here. Still give it through to like at least the high of the day, but I had it like 54.50. I'll give it to like more like a 54.40 because on positive earnings, in sort of a staple value type name here, I'd rather dig into a short somewhere else. And if it's going to break the upside, the market's going to rebound. I kind of feel like Coke, if it breaks 40, it's going to break 50. So why give it the extra 10 cents, Miss V?
Hey Neil, AMBO education is very popular on the chat right now. AMBO is up around 62%, guys.
I had no locates on that thing. Actually, I should have double checked to make sure because often throughout the day, look, you have to be able to borrow shares if you want to go short to trade equities. For those of you that don't know that. And then, of course, usually we have just about everything free here at Day Trade the World. These ones, I have to double check. We didn't have any available. But thankfully so. I'll call that bank error in my favor because would I have shorted 285, 280s? I would have done it here and I would have made money and then would have done it again and I would have been blown out when it took $3. So I'd probably be flat at best on this stock, if not down on the session. That is a bit of a fail break. It's not a bit. That is a failed break at $3 at this point in my book. So it'd be prime for a rollover, kind of back at that 285, 290 range. That's where I'd be getting into a short. You got to think about someone that sees that failed break or doubles down and didn't cover at 3 or gets in, they're usually going to throw their stop at the high of the day. So when you get a failed break at 3, you're usually going long on a 305 instead of a 3 on the way back up. And there was some sort of muted support down here, like 255. There's a lot of wicks down here. Like there's no iceberg orders, just pop down on volume and guys would step up here. I think that's a lot algo driven, buying any dip. Either way, it looks strong, and I probably dodged a bit of a bullet because I would have been short at least twice on this name at 85s. Would have worked. Maybe it would work here, but I can't do it.
So Clover just rips up there to that 80 spot. So We'll wait to see. We did get in. We talked about getting in on an 80 break. So there it is. We talked about getting in right off there. So that's kind of a similar spot that we got earlier. We got 82s on that break, but it's the same play. Last time we failed here before making a new low and then ripping off. So my average price right now on Clover is 85, so it's flat. So we'll just wait to see. That's where the VWAP is. If we can get above there, then hallelujah. And we'll see about going to the high side right now, 980. Let's go, Clover. Let's see if we get going now. I mean, I'm trying to get some out as well, just because we waited on this trade. So we'll have to wait to get it out. $10 would be a nice spot. We did initially go long $10 there before. So maybe this is the jumping spot, but the fact that it's not going definitely has me a little bit worried about this position here on Clover. So I don't want to give this all the way back. Maybe just like dumping it if it breaks back below. Maybe even just like 959, right here might be a good spot to get out of this one if it does come back in, not give it back to the day's low. So we'll see if it tests 940. But for right now, we're long Clover and hoping we get back to 10 bucks. We'll cash it out if it gets anywhere near there. But hopefully right now, that's a new position for me is Clover. And we're averaging into our CCL. So I like this position up to 30. 27.30 will be a breaking spot there for CCL, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go and do something which is for a weak stock. I can tell you right now, once again, Peloton finding a bit of a bottom. I took the bottom break at 107, couldn't go anywhere. I'm thinking you should at least give it back to like 108. Given how tight this range is going to be and the fact that there could also be another breakdown, maybe we can catch that scalp trade. I'm going to give it back to the opening range bottom. And that was that little flush price at 107.30. It's actually less than 50 cents worth of risk, which some of it has to do with the time of the day because we're getting close to 11 o'clock here. But this is a lot of consolidation. It might rip up. And if it does, I'd rather be shorting it at 110 in VWAP. So this bottom break on Peloton might not work out for me. That's why I'm tightening up the stop. You guys are going to the big screen. It's a mixed board, despite the fact that it felt very, very weak. Let's see Sector Watch here with Brendan.
Hey guys, let's check out the S&P 500, see what is leading the way so far today. As Neil was saying, a mixed board, but I was trying to find something that was a little bit strong, and there's not a lot. The energy group, really the only one standing out as far as strength is concerned. Overall, the market down 0.3%, but that's really it. The energy group, there are some individual names providing a little bit of strength today, but otherwise it is pretty negative. ALB here in the materials group up 3% today. The rest of this group, though, pretty solidly in negative territory. I was mentioning early on, some of the banks in positive territory today, they have faded. There's WFC 1% still, but the rest back to the downside a little bit. Industrials are leading, in fact, or among the leaders, along with tech shares to the downside today. Transportation stocks getting the worst of it here in the industrials group, lower. Look at Tesla, 5.4%. In negative territory for Tesla. Penn National, Caesars here, both lower on the day. Wynn below it as well, HLT and Marriott. So some of those travel names coming back in play to the downside, leading. But it's all about the tech sector, the semiconductors specifically, pretty much the entire group here in negative territory. Software names as well getting hit, and some of the consumer discretionary stocks. So as I was saying, not a lot to offset a negative market so far today. 0.3% right now for the S&P, guys. Back over to you.
And what was once a happy stock, we have put it right into the can as we'll flush ourselves down the toilet there with a loss on NEO breaking through 36. The damage on this last trade was negligible because we were able to get some out there. But like I said, we were really, really waiting for some upside there. Never came through. So that's going to be a problem for us. CCL, a nice reload for sure. And then at least we got to hold something short, right? So CCL there into 17s, into 20s. Nicely to the downside right now goes CCL. Probably worth taking a piece out right now if we can at 05. So we'll put a bid there. See if we get hit on the downside. There it is. We're waiting on NASDAQ there or ARC or something. Take it out there for a nice little bid. Good move, man. 12 cents in the money. And down goes Palantir. So down goes Palantir. We talked about defending that 85 level. So we'll wash the stock again today, it looks like, as it's just keep on going. The funny thing is, we talked about it early. breaking this 22 was a problem, and it never really, since it broke that, never really got back up. We pushed here, we got out, we tested one more time there, and now you fade back in. So Palantir just continues to be the mess that we thought it would be on a day like today with the market doing this kind of a move. We knew Palantir would be in a little bit of trouble, and that appears to be the case. So Palantir to the downside right now. We'll have to wait to see if it can pick itself up. We did get that bid on CCL, so making the money back on CCL a little bit at least, rather than Palantir, but that's a good one. And then the last one here, it has that fail break. We get as high as 86 there. I'm not taking any out. We're going to wait for Clover. If it does fail back down through this 950, we're going to get out. But one more average in. We haven't averaged in really at all on Clover. This was, I guess, a little bit. That was out. Then we got back in for this ride up. So we could turn Clover negative today, especially if it does break. But right now, 950, 954, we're going to take this bid right here.
I would like to be able to say that I believed in the hard and the short in GameStop, but the chart's going to say otherwise. I'm going to get out before it tests the low of the day in the initial short. It's going to test 175. Now, remember in the pre-market I said at 185, I'd like that. Breaks the high, makes an extension to the upside. I'd like that a little bit better. It never gave you that. That's why scalp into what I thought was going to be a level here at 171. I mean, it was in terms of the lack of anything in front of it. So look, I could have had like $6 or $7 on GameStop, but the plan of action was unless it was 185, I was going to be taking scalp trades. So it'll be another good one here. Just out a little bit too early once again in this name. For those of you that are still tracking Sundial, I know there's going to be a few. Look, you're probably. Look, if you're holding this one, yeah, that's great. You're still in the money here. If you had 80 cents in the pre-market, you're still in the money. If you were buying this last week, I mean, it depends on the timing of it, of course, whether you're in the money or not. I can tell you that there has been a level, like I said, at 90 cents. You can see here, and again, this is just psychological, but also on the way up, the first pullback in the morning was right at this like 93 area, and it dips right into 90. You know, that's, I mean, it wasn't the fact that it's a round number. It's more to do with just that particular price. When it rounds out of a buck, it's 10%. It's a psychological level. It's where it dipped back into. It's not rocket science. I haven't taken any more out in front of it, which is not smart. So I'm going to see if I can't get some more shares on Sundial in front of that level. I do expect if we don't break 90 cents, we're likely to test back up to 95. I'm not going to short that price if it happens. I'm going to let it break 95 and sort of wait for it to get to a buck. It would be a bit of a strong hold here if it holds that price, and I'm not like, and again, I'm not the person throwing around like a million shares of this stock that thinks they can send it back down. When it starts going in the afternoon, that's exactly when I got burned. Before, I shorted it great in the pre-market that day, and then it made a big time move going into lunchtime. I'm not going to average into a short in Sundial going into lunch if it wants to show me a weakness. Peloton, I tightened the stop up. It looks like it might not have been necessary. Sliding down towards 105. If it gets there, there's a new short off 107. We roll into one in the morning. There's a couple of legs. I mean, I wanted to be short this one in that 110 price area for an idea of like a hold short into the low of the day. I also like the 112.70 area, and I basically turned two trades into two trades into one, which it is what it is. So to treat it that way, get most of it out in front of that 110 forever buyer that was there for a half an hour. When it finally breaks, now this is what I was expecting to happen. I think if you like the stock, you might get a chance at 100 this week, and I would wait patiently for that entry price if that's what you're into. Coke, on the other hand, I think my instinct to tighten up the stop here may have been the right one. The market is screaming to the downside again, and Coke is grinding up here. So it feels like to me you're going to get a few of these cyclical names that are showing some strength. The banks are showing some strength today. It's too weak of a move in the market for me not to get back into this short, but I'll keep the tighter stop. So 40 is still going to be the out instead of 50. But if it's going to press the highs when the market's looking this week, I've got to take a shot shorting Coke. Usually not the most volatile name. It breaking out on a day like today doesn't feel right to me. So I'm coming back into this one. This time instead of the 30s, I'll get 26s here to the short side. And there's Wells Fargo. Just got that in front of 44.
All right, lots of names covered there. Yeah, Wells Fargo. I mean, CCL continues to go to the downside as well. And we did get out, flush ourselves down again. I keep going long on some of these names. All the shorts just cashing in. There's Clover, comes out at that bottom level. We'll see if we can pick some up at 920. But if it makes now a new day's high, I'd just be surprised. I feel like this move is now over. But CCL, I mean, I can't flush you down the toilet. We did, again, look at this trade. short. Anything purple, shorts, right? So that means we're borrowing the stock and then buying it back at a hopefully lower price. And today, CCL has been that cash. So we've given back a lot because, not a lot, but enough that I'm not happy because we did take this neo long. We tried it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm only looking long, but this market to the downside has been nasty. So I think we got to go back over to Facebook looking at that 3. I mean, it still stayed up here. This is why I kind of like Facebook right now. Oh, come on. Reload. It stayed up here in this dip. Not to mean, we're making new lows right now in the NASDAQ. You can see this level right here, 13,870. But we could hold this 13,0250. That's looking like a decent spot there. The NASDAQ and the ES is just cracking right now. 302. I may just go short this name. I don't think there's anything stopping us from doing that. But, this market's very, very weak. Softy always holds up. 260, 250. We were looking at 260 earlier. Come on, chart. Hard for me to look at this one. Our charts won't load. Neil, my chart is frozen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come back to the AMBO because Ancient One. If you're gonna throw like a nerd Marvel reference as your name, and I hope that that's actually a Marvel reference, I'm gonna talk about it here. AMBO. I can tell you right now, if we had locates, I'd be down on the stock. There's just no question about it. It is now looking pretty strong. I did say. And look, this is one of the things I did say. It's more of like a 305 break and a 3 even after it made that failed move through 3 the first time. Clearly, if you took anything to the long side before that, it's okay. It is still on the dips. It's still holding like whatever level it consolidates at before. It's essentially holding that on the pullback. So it's looking very, very strong for the time being. I'm going to continue to see if we get locates on it, and maybe this is something that I'll be looking at in our afternoon show, which I can't believe. If we mentioned it, I don't know if we did, but yeah, that's right. We do come back at the close, and a lot of the names that you hear us talk about here will be back in play at 3:15. Now, there might be some other things that have moved. The market's going to do its own thing before we come back, but make sure you still have your watch list around and handy, and some of these key levels are very, very important, especially on some of these small cap names that press to the upside. If you get a pullback in something like an AMBO, and then it tests, and then it holds like that 250, and then tests back upside, you're going to want to be looking back towards some of these choppy levels like this 3 to 315 area or 3 to 320 area in power hour, because I always find that if it holds these dip buys, there is some good buying activity and some decent long bets at least. I flip from going into the shorts to thinking I'll play the long side when you do get a strong hold. Like for now, AMBO is doing. I can't say that'll be the case at 315, but it's on my radar, certainly. It's still at the time of day where I'd be thinking shorts. If I had them, of course, that wouldn't have worked.
All right, I'm just looking at the same kind of thing here, looking at different levels, trying to find out what do we want. CCL's 34 cents in the money right now, so that appears to be a good little trade for us here moving forward. But trying to find out, is Bitcoin going to bounce from these levels or what? We are looking to get, okay, there's a Facebook short. I was going to say my first short, hopefully coming through on Facebook. We'll take an average into this one as well. We just played that bump up. I didn't want to play the breakout of 302.50. We talked about that. I'm going to let it come back up and then see if we hold this line. 304.50. I want to average into this name, guys. I don't want to take this one all the way. Let's just average into Facebook here and see if it can't give us the run that we need. So one more price coming, 303.25. We'll see if we could take that on a bounce back up. If I have the bottom here in Facebook, I have the bottom. But 304 and change, pretty well worth it. 304.50. We're trying to get more short here in FB. Let's see if we can do that. Don't know if we'll be able to, but we're going to try to get more short here in Facebook. 303.30 or so coming in. 40-cent win right now. Look at CCL. This is a monster for us. We're back from the dead a little bit here on this name, so a nice move backside now on CCL. We'll see how far it can go. It's going to bounce. I'll probably put some bids here at 75 just to take it out. It's been a big trade for me. We're ready with Brendan at the big screen. It's time to talk money, and who better to do that than Brendan Wickens.
Hey guys, currency time. Let's have a look at what is moving around so far. As far as the overall currency markets are concerned, a little bit of US dollar strength to begin the week. So some of these in negative territory. The euro, though, standing out relatively strong today. 120.25, up 0.35% on the day. The Canadian dollar, even the British pound, stronger to start the week, but it was actually coming off of Quite the sell-off, if you remember, going into the weekend. But the Canadian dollar back to the downside, 0.2%, 79.9 for the CAD. Australia and New Zealand both in positive territory today as well. I mean, it's hard not to talk about cryptocurrencies. Everyone focused on these. Bitcoin 55, 5,000, 10%, 12% for Ethereum. 20% for Ripple today, all downside in a big way. Back to 130 here for XRP. I mean, 57 I was looking at for Bitcoin, guys. What do you think of BTC here?
I mean, I think.
Go ahead.
Even I think you're probably waiting for like that 52. If it's going to extend, I mean, that's what I would look to see for buying a defense. I mean, obviously, it kind of hasn't mattered where you bought dips, but keeping it to like retests of higher lows from previous pullbacks and some round numbers makes sense to me. I like 10% and 20% pullbacks. I gotta come to Coinbase here because this is pie in my face. In the midst of all of that, what was the one price that we liked all morning long? It's gonna be that 328. I mean, like, are you kidding me? It just bounced off 328. It did so without me. As I'm getting into some more, I'm taking Coke short. And then getting a Wells Fargo long, which is doing absolutely nothing for me here at 44.03, and then missed out on Coinbase at 328. Once again, I took it off too early the first time we got it. I didn't get it the second time through. Maybe to give some consolidation down here and I can pick up some 29s. I'll go ahead and do that, but I'm not chasing it to 330. And the reason why is it just hasn't been as volatile as that first day, so you don't want to overextend yourself on that particular name. So look, it's a good price. This is why we go over these things in the pre-market for you guys, so you can have a look at them. Now, GameStop did make a higher low here at 166. It is looking like it wants to try to be on the march back to the upside. If it takes out 175, I'm not shorting that price again. I'll wait for like a 185 on a push. I try not, look, this is what I try to do. I short this roll over here shy of 175 at 170. The second time I wait for 175, yeah, the next time I'll be short of like a 180, 185 if it gets up there. Otherwise, you're looking for a bottom break if you're a short side trader at 163.50 on GameStop. Still holding up, still relatively strong. I can also tell you here that Tesla, just to come back to this name, and I was saying to myself, okay, maybe I made a mistake getting out of it with 705, taking out half flats. Tesla's still very much weak. Back below or back at 700 even. If it breaks 690, I do like those 80s. I like that 666 price if it ever gets back down there. So some of that's coming back into the fold. At least you have to think about it. One that I don't have to think about, well, I shouldn't say that. You should think about every position that you have. You should always be concerned with every position that you have. One that hasn't given me any concern has been that CLNE. Vastly different from, of course, my results here in Clover, which had some more strength into it. That's why it didn't work out well for me in Clover. But I'm still hanging on to CLNE. I have not been able to get more shares back at VWAP because it simply hasn't gone there, but it has now broken 13. It only got to about 85s. If it makes another test of this level down here, I'll probably get some out in front of 85 and then wait to see if it can dip any further. But just managing a short that's in the money for me all day long makes it a little bit easier to hold multiple positions when one is doing something like CLNE.
Yeah, oh my God, multiple positions, talk about it. I got two shorts right now. We did get an average in on Facebook. So right now our average price, I mean, it's not bad. We're short at 303.10, 303.08, I believe. On the board now. So I'm trying to get some more up here. And again, like we're just, it's crazy. Like we were debating, looking at that 302.50 there, saying I liked it. And then all of a sudden the NASDAQ now turning a bit around, giving us this opportunity to get short. Again, there it is. So that's the last average we're going to take. 304.50. You guys want to, if it breaks that, then yeah, then we'll be out. I mean, some of these longs not really coming in for us too good here today, but we'll wait on Facebook now. 304.50. I mean, now the market wants to take off. I think if we get downside, we have a good price, man. I mean, not as good as where we're at right now, but I think that we've sort of withheld this. We'll wait to see. I still have bids down here, 302. I can't just take this out right now. Well, I'm going to at 304.50, but yikes, big move to the upside right now coming on Facebook. Let's see if the shorts can hold, man. I would love to get this thing back downside and we could get some out. The NASDAQ was not expecting, for me, this kind of a direct move back up. This is a 1 minute, man. Look like no green for 10, sorry, no green for 10 minutes, now no red for another 10 minutes. So this is just on crack, the Nas crack, as we like to say. So let's wait to see if it comes back to the downside now. I don't know, man, 303 and change. This Facebook, I got to get out if it breaks the high. This could just rip if the NASDAQ continues to go.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm again going to be sort of kicking myself and not looking at QuantumScape, and shout out to everyone that was talking about this. It's still going down, but it's nowhere near that 30 level. It's about to go 10% to the downside if it breaks that 32. It looks like, but I'm going to try to hold off on doing anything with this name until it gets through that 32. Maybe makes a fresh low and some consolidation. You know, we talk about short seller reports, and usually the way to get into a long after these reports come out and sort of beat up on the stock is when you hold a key level. That did not happen at last week's low, obviously going into today, but it doesn't mean there won't be a crack at this or a shot at this at 30 even. I can also look at Wells Fargo, and again, this is going to be a bit frustrating because the first time we looked at Wells Fargo at 44, it was fantastic for that consolidation. I didn't get the long. I didn't chase it either. The second time I get the fill, this is what it looked like when it filled me. Like, it basically came down, hit me 03, stalled out for a split second, then flushed right to the previous low, almost stopping me out, and now we're just going sideways from here. So the market can rebound. At least it's one of the banks, which has been okay, but the way that position came in, there is no averaging in for me. Not when it makes a high like that, and basically I just caught a falling sword. Stood in front of a moving train. I'm not going to average into a play like this. It just does not make any sense. I can tell you Peloton, it was in the money. I did this, which I say I'm not supposed to do. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I stared at it, had about $1 in the money, but I thought, okay, well, Peloton, look, we're getting bigger moves than that before. We can get to 105, but I tightened my stop up to 107.30s because I didn't want this to crack up to 109. And then again, I found myself doing the same thing as before, where I really like the short, but I just have shares too early that I don't like. And this time, I'll get out tight and then wait for the better price. And if it gets to that 109, 110, then I'll get back into Peloton and feel much better about it. Sundial, for those of you that are still cracking in that name, bounces off 90 again, which I said it was going to do. I took some more shares off at 91. I still have that 95 short. Some of my shares were above 96. The rest were here at 95.20 or so. If it breaks up, no average in for me, unless it's like 97s to 99s. Brendan?
We looked at that woof a little bit early on in the pets industry. Here's another one. PetQ, guys, medication and also insurance provider. $40 tested twice here on PetQ today. Also up 7.5%.
I love the pet space. We're along that STIC, which is going to eventually be BarkBox, and we'll see about that one coming through as well. So that's woof. We will have a quick look at that. NEO, I just want to bring to everyone's attention. It tried to make a move back to 36. For me, it has to get back up here. Like, I don't know if it does it today. So 36.50 or so on NEO. We're still holding out for a little bit of a move down in the NASDAQ, but that may not happen as we are short Facebook. So you guys know that one. We'll wait to see. We have an out 304.50, sorry. The out on that one. Yeah, QuantumScape, we talked about getting out of that last Friday or Thursday when that report came out. I hope you guys did that. You know that I did. I'm still holding a bit, but I want to find lower prices on that one. E-bond moving around today, SNDL. We've talked about that. What about DraftKings?
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, DKNG. I mean, everything's tanking. So I just think if you were able to raise a little bit of capital lately, then you can pick up some DKNGs here on the downside, like just straight down. There's a little bit of consolidation here at 56, but as you're looking, we are right at this level. I've already sort of stamped buying some right now, but until we get back above 63, 63.50, very, very hard to make that move for sure. Just to recap what we have. So Clover right now, again, this is still DraftKings. Oh my God, don't tell me this is going to freeze. No. Okay, we did get out on that 40 break, but now we're basing out a little bit. I think I want to try a long through 950 one more time. That's why we're holding on. If we do break this very bottom, 925, we're going to get out. But for right now, I do like a test here, 950 long on Clover. Let's see. Looks like our Facebook is now $1. Looks like we're going to rip upside here as the NASDAQ doesn't want to stop. So Facebook, we may have to get out of this. Well, we will get out of this one at 304.50 if it does go higher.
Yeah, I said a few names that are down here. I want to just sort of comment on Virgin Galactic. I said before, last time, I think it was Tyrone was asking, I'm like, I'm not buying any more of this thing. I've scalped what I will. I've taken any profit I will. And it's like, now you're holding for really, really long term. They don't make any money, of course. You guys should know that by now. And I really do think if you love it, you're going to get a chance to hold on to something below 20 in the near term. I wasn't thinking this to the short side this morning, and obviously I should have been as it broke down to some fresh lows. If there is any kind of a pullback today, I'll be watching this like 22.60 area, the previous low from last week. That's going to be a key price to get back through if it can. I'm not even convinced that it's going to happen, but I want to make sure that I watch it. GameStop, which I got away from too early, I sort of went over this, of course, taking out the short too early, but who was it pointing out there? I missed it in the chat. You guys were saying double bottom in GameStop, and I'm like, okay, let's have a quick look at that. 163.5, and then now 164.5, so it puts in a bit of a higher low. You almost have to like it here if it's going to be able to hold that price level. We've seen this before. GameStop up almost like 10%, and if you really think about what's happened this morning, basically the pre-market range of 163.5 all the way up to like 174.30, like that's going to give you like an $11 range. That is the exact same opening range. Like it hasn't even put in, like it hasn't broken out, is what I'm getting at here. So you can't shy away from a range-bound trade. And this is what's so, impressive is the only word I can use. It'll gap up, it'll have news, it'll trade millions of shares at this price, which is just incredible, and it won't break out of the range. It's a level of stability on the stock, which is quite frankly shocking to me at these price levels. So, kudos to everyone at GameStop. You gotta be holding like a bandit for these things to happen. For now, playing inside of the range is the way to go for me on the long side. I don't know if I'm going to do that at the top. If it tests the top, I want it to break that top before I short through fresh highs.
So just, good talk there on GameStop. Yeah, it's still up nicely, but very holding out on those 75 levels for sure. There's CCL. We just took it out. We'll hit the winner on that one. That's about 40 cents. Well, I guess 20. It was 40 cents. We take 30. Just nervous that the market does come back to the upside there. So let's watch out that we don't get out near this level. Get out a little bit lower. We've given up. Basically, by taking it out right now, we gave up like 10 cents, which is nothing. So we'll wait on that one. Clover's the next break, waiting for that 950. I guess we were waiting a little bit higher. We didn't get triggered into that. So I don't know if it actually broke 950 or not, but we're still going to wait. Now I'm going to put it in, I guess, 953. But Clover's coming down. So we're going to wait for this 925 to break if it does come through. Facebook gives me a little bit of a scare there at that view up. And now we're coming back in a little bit. We're still short at 303.30. So again, hey, if the market tanks, I'll be here, Facebook, for you. Let's just hope that it comes downside now. No idea if that's going to happen. Palantir did go on a little bit of a run. Let's see if this chart will load for me. There it is, down to 21.55. So now at least we can base out a little bit here. If you see a 20-period chart here, 20-minute chart, let's go. It doesn't give us whoops, I closed it. Doesn't give us too much love on this, but there's the 21.50 bounce on a 3-minute. So a good little look there for PLTR. What's up, E?
Just reading on some M&A, guys, some merger and acquisition Monday. Marlin Business Services taken out today. 21.71 in the pre-market, 23.50. That is a cash deal for Marlin Business Solutions. So MRLN up 52% today, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you say 20 was only trading at 21.50? That's a bit of a red flag there. There was, to be perfectly honest, I actually want to say this because I didn't mention it. A lot of people don't care about buyouts, but this one in particular could get interesting, and that's, of course, a nuanced deal with Microsoft. Now, I got burned going long on it because I didn't think the antitrust concerns were going to be as big as they were in the first day. That's kind of pie in my face because ever since the new administration, they've been sort of talking about that was going to be something they looked at. AstraZeneca just had a $30 billion deal go through. And that was one space that was supposed to get a closer look in terms of looking at antitrust. Nuance is half the price, and there's tons of competition. Apple's big, Google's going to be big. So personally, I kind of feel this one is going to go through. If it can't hold these 53 levels, remember this is a 55. The price tag is way up here. Beyond that 56 level. So I kind of feel like there's going to be some room to run. If this dips down again and retests 52. This is not really going to be regular sort of scalp buyout trading or spread trading or whatever you want to call it. That's more just like almost value buying or merger arbitrage buying, essentially what I'm thinking about here, if it gets down to that 52 range. I just feel like it's a bit of a go zone. I think the deal's going to happen, but that's just my personal opinion here. And obviously, I bet and lost on that in the first day, so take that with a grain of salt.
Yep, good talk there. But look, that's being honest, right? We got to try to make as many positions and right trades for you guys as we can. And sometimes we are going to, not sometimes, a lot of the time, we're going to fumble up on some trades. But just stick with us, stick with our logic, and hopefully, you know what, like that will hopefully make the day for everybody. If your trades make sense to you, then that's really all that matters because you're looking to rinse and repeat these trades as well, right? So again, have some success, understand where your money's coming from, and then make the trades in those names and make them accordingly, right? If you're like a buyout trader, some days you're going to get hit on those kind of moves, and some days you're not. So, that's easy. But here comes Facebook back down to the downside. It's trying to go now. We're almost flat, 303.30, not almost, but we're 40 cents away from becoming flat now. this may be a spot where we debate getting some out. The NASDAQ has come back in a little bit, giving us a little bit of breathing room here on this Facebook short. We may be wrong. If it retraces back here, we're going to be huge. So I think it's worth a little bit of a hold. I am bidding some to get some out here around where we're at, 303.50. So I think it's worth it on the downside now to see about holding a little bit of Facebook. We've worked our way back in. It's fallen $1 from where we were initially. But again, this is going to be one of those stocks where we have to very, very carefully mitigate our trade because, you know, the market rips. This is going to go right back. The market tanks. We're back down here. So let's be a little cautious here on Facebook. I'm going to take one spot out right now. And then if this thing tanks, man, we're going to be huge. So let's get out a little bit on Facebook and then wait for this move to the downside.
Yeah, my new position is going to be over in GameStop. So, yeah, that's right. We've done this in GameStop, which is the first time. Actually went long. That's, of course, that double bottom there. 163.50 and then pre-market, and then here after the open, 164, almost even. Now, let's keep in mind, I did talk about how the pre-market range and the opening range had been exactly the same $11. Given the market trying to rebound, you know, even if we get halfway back here and I can get some of this out in front of 168 and then maybe the rest in front of a 169, I'm going to like that trade. From a risk to reward standpoint, I still have that Coke short. But I can tell you it's now hit first leg at 54.15, which is exactly where I got it out the first time, but I had a better short price the first time through, and holding up. So as the market tries to rebound, you got Coke on their highs after what was strong earnings here, and I did tighten my stop up to 54.40, and I'm actually thinking about doing the same thing here again and not letting it break through that lower high at 54.40 before. 54.30, I'm thinking, give it even less room because it's showing me some strength here in Coke. It was a wipeout in the morning. That was the long that I wanted. Of course, I didn't get it because I was paying attention to some other stocks, which I anticipated would be more volatile. I just didn't think Coke was going to do it and then test that support level right away. And if you did, you had to be very, very fast to get that trade. That's the reality. If you're not anticipating that at 9:30 and that's on your board and it's like, this is one of the 2 or 3 things I'm going to be trading this morning, you're not going to get it. So it wasn't for me. It was sort of down on that list of trades that I was going to take. I was wrong. It was good. Now it's too strong for me to give like 15 pennies to the upside here.
All right, lots of talk about a lot of different names here. We'll check out Coke. We can check back on that. That was a stock that I haven't traded yet today. We were looking for that breakout through the high of 55. I don't know, did we get there or not? Okay, here's the NASDAQ. We did take out a piece of Facebook there, so I can go back to that in a minute. Now, we didn't get anywhere near 55. We got close to the day's high. Brendan brought us this name here, and I think he brought it here. So this was a nice move down and then back up there for Coke, and now it's just kind of chilling out. So we don't have much to go on right now on KO, but we'll wait to see. Shout out to Kevin O'Leary there when we say a little KO action. We'll look to have Kevin back on to discuss everything watches and MindMed and everything like that. Kevin O'Leary back on maybe soon. We'll see if we can get him. Okay, so Facebook right there, guys. Just to, you know, there's our out. We talked about getting out at 50. We got out at 57. That wasn't bad. That was a 20-cent hit. But here we go. It looks like the NASDAQ wants to take out this 13,950. If it does, then we will get blasted out on this Facebook trade. Not going to hold this. Not as bad as it could have been because we did take out about a quarter there, but we'll still lose on the last 75%. So it will be bad. But our average price right now, 303.40. So, I mean, to take a $1 hit seems to be reasonable for this move on Facebook, but hopefully the NASDAQ can come down and Facebook will actually turn out to be a winner for us. But right now, that's all that we're doing, man. I mean, we'd be looking at NEO. I think this is going to get us out here. Watch out for the NASDAQ. Facebook's strong. And if anything we've learned from this is that this is dumped down a couple times. We dumped down there. We dumped down 2 or 3 days ago. And then today, it wants to hold this 300. So we'll have a look at 300 in the next couple days, especially if we come in and we have some down days. We'll see if we can pick up some bottoms around 300 on Facebook. But for right now, looks like we'll get out to the high side for a loser. But we'll see. 304.60 still has to come.
Facebook doing a King Leonidas there. Come on, someone better get that reference, or otherwise I'm going to be very upset with all of you there. He just said holding the 300. I'm like, come on, holding 300, it's easy. GameStop holding the bottom so far. I want to get 167s or at least north side of 167s for this 165 quarter long that we have on. But I can show you level 2. We're not there right now, but 177 just a few seconds ago. Little bit of an iceberg order. So, you know, And what I mean by that is you have like 100 shares showing or a couple of hundred shares showing on the offer at 167, and then I'll just sit there and watch the tape, churn through like a few thousand shares, meaning someone has a reserve order at 167. The good news is some people have put some stops there, and if a 167 breaks, there might be a few breakout longs that likely take me out and give me a winning trade to the upside. At least that's going to be the plan. I can tell you, I'm going to flush it down the toilet. I should have had Wells Fargo the first time. I don't get it the first time. I get it the second time through. When it looks like that and you get the long as opposed to the consolidation long, that's why I didn't average into it. And of course, it turns out to be a losing trade. Wish I got it that first time, but beggars can't be choosers. Brendan's at the big
All right,
at the desk. Sorry.
Yeah, it's over there. Sean was talking about NEO earlier. Just noticed XPEV as well, guys. XPeng day lows just broke $30 there on volume. So some of these EV stocks still under pressure. No significant news for XPEV today, but another one to the downside, guys.
That's me over here in Sundial. Yeah, Sundial just broke 90s. Thought it'd be resistance. Said I wouldn't average in based on the time of day. Clearly that would have worked if I'd taken 93s, but it wasn't even like 94, 95. So if it wants to continue this little flush, like maybe it gets to like an 85. And the only reason I throw that number out there is it closed on Friday at 85. I don't think it'll retrace the entire day going into 420. Likely to find some buyers, I would suspect. Psychologically, it's been a theme before on this stock. I would expect maybe it's going to do the same thing again. CLNE, I probably am not going to sit around waiting for 1340 to happen. That's going to be like a pie in the sky perfect price. If I want to get more shares here, I've missed this pop. I've shorted every single pop since the open, well, with the exception of the top rollover. Once it was back below 14, I shorted the pop at 935. I shorted this pop at 1350 a couple of times here. I did miss it at 40 because I wasn't aggressive enough. I think the same thing will go here where I'm going to have to pick some up at like 25 to 30 if I'm going to get this trade. So I like to get back into it. Usually when something like this is working, and I'm just sort of selling it in every single pop into the afternoon, I'm forced to get a little bit more aggressive each time here. GameStop continues to only go $1 and change in the money, and I'm still looking at that same iceberg order at 167, which is going to be a bit of a test. Now, if I was flat, I'd be considering like a 167 pop long into like 169, but because we tried the bottom pick here, not going to average into this position or average up in this particular case because it's 11:15, not the kind of thing I would do at lunchtime. Or close to lunchtime.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just noticing I still have low AMC bids downside here, so we can see what's going on with that. Guys, join us. Remember, we do have coming up, very, very important. If I can find it on my board, where is it? There it is. Coming up, number 3 for you today. Our Q&A. It's about to go down, like in 30 minutes or so, or 20 minutes actually at this point. 11:35. Join us for a nice little talk. Mark Roberts is coming back. I've already asked him for his pick of the week. He didn't give it to me early. He's going to give it to us now. So if you're a member, you can join up. You can watch us on this 11:35. Coming up right after the show, we'll take all of your questions. Neil, myself, Brendan, and special guest Mark Roberts from Sun Lake Strategies will be here to do that with us today. I talked about it early, and we didn't do anything because we never got filled. We were waiting for 9 to come through here on AMC. We talked about having some GameStop love in it today. It looks like that is the kind of love that it had. Early, nice little break upside to 975 at about 10:30, and since then we've just sort of bouncing around. I don't know. I mean, if you like AMC, good, but there's really no levels here. I'd rather it hit 10. You can see on the daily chart, we've been up here numerous times before. Rather fade this than go long, but again, the market will just tell tale on this name. So if it wants to go up, it will follow itself. 1085 could break. Right now for AMC, I don't love this. And again, we're scalping these trades. There goes Facebook. Facebook goes out. So where's crickets? We'll just go spicy. Although I was going to hit the cricket button. But there it is, Facebook. We took the shot there. It takes it out. I mean, we went short. I mean, what are we going to do? We went short down here. We noticed Facebook. We like it to the short side. But there it is breaking. And now we're right at these levels. Normally, I'd short again. Let's see if the NASDAQ breaks this. If it doesn't, then we do have a Facebook high now of 305 that we could probably short into. So debating taking that now to the downside. But again, a strong NASDAQ just probably breaks. So happy to get out, but not happy with the trade. Eventually, that was a little too spicy for me. We went short at this the complete wrong time. Nice average there, saved a little bit, but ultimately a loser there for Facebook.
Yeah, I'm going to come to Clover because it's starting to pique my interest, and it was very mixed results. I mean, short early in the pre-market that had some muted success, looked like it was going okay, and then found that support level at 940. Tried a little bit of a long break, and again, some success into 10, and then we try to get back in at 950. That breaks to the downside. Another short loss, and it's now holding this 920 bottom. I mean, this double bottom. The volume is really starting to taper off. That's the only thing it's, I guess looking rather weak for this name is that you get that tapering volume. Hard to get a bit of a breakout, or at least a break back up if that's going to be the case. But I look at this, and it's usually that setup where you hold that opening range bottom. You get a fail break at a level like 10, then another push through the high of the day that gives this kind of a pullback, and you still can't break down. I mean, it's going to be like if it holds 910, it's going to be along somewhere, and I'm probably going to take a couple shots at it. This is the one I've been going both directions. I mean, CLNE, I really only like the short, but Clover, I feel like you have to be willing to play it in both directions. Instead of plopping a bid in front of 920, I'm going to go with a 950 break on this. So if it breaks up, see if I can't scalp that into 975, then maybe hold a bit into 10 even, but showing a little bit of strength. I'd prefer if volume were to come in. If there was some volume here at the bottom, I'd just sit on the bid and maybe get into position early.
Okay, just looking here, and I'm going to say a big F you to Facebook, as hopefully, we now come back to the downside. I'm going to give this another shot. Are we going to punch ourselves in the face? Where is the punching ourselves in the face? Let's just go crickets right now. We're going to be all quiet on Facebook and just hope that this comes down this time, okay? We'll wait to see. We went short there. I was talking about that 305 being maybe the top. We do have 305 right in here. Maybe I should have given that a little bit more room, but we did get busted out there. Let's see if we can't make some back. Looking to make $1 now on the downside of Facebook. Again, if it gets out, we'll get out, man. 305 breaks, see ya, we gone. But for now, I do like this short into this NASDAQ. We'll wait, man. Maybe 305 is the key there, but we are short that name. Clover's not doing anything. We may take out the bottom. This was an okay name for us. We are going to be negative on it, but we did play that break. And then this bottom was pretty key as we took it at 935. And then look, this one gave us $1 win there on Clover to the high side. But since that, just been fail. We need Chamath to come back on and start talking about this name again. But yeah, 935, 920. Beautiful base here. If you break above 950, I think it's worth it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start to average in now, just in case this does take off. So I'm going to use this as the bottom, 920. Let's average into Clover. What's up, B?
iHeartMedia, guys, just popping up here on volume. They announced an exclusive podcast partnership with the NFL Podcast Network. So that's, yeah, that would be nice too. But
okay.
iHeartMedia teaming up with the NFL, guys.
So if anybody was watching this from iHeartMedia, I mean, we're available. You can sign it up. Brendan will take your call, and then we'll work on a deal. iHeartMedia, good little name there. I missed the symbol, though. Oh, okay. I was too busy dreaming about like iHeartRadio. Maybe we'll get a podcast one day. If you like a podcast, put that in the chat. Maybe we can work on a podcast here. iHeartRadio, yeah, 1875, a good bottom there. But again, you know, look at this move, man. It's exhausted. It's been 8 to 16, 8 to 19, 8 to 20 since November. So watch out for the downside, but always interesting names. We saw Spotify go nuts on Kim Kardashian and Barack Obama, and some new names coming through for Spotify. So let's watch IHRT.
Yeah, and I was watching this AMBO again, check to see if we had some locates, because holding below 3 even, you're going to see like it looks very, very choppy, but there's some structure here because 3 to like 320, and then you have 3 to 375. So like 20 to 25 cent ranges if you want to have a look at it. And it just flushed off of 3 even. This is where I wanted to get into this, fading into like VWAP here. Unfortunately, like I said, no locates on it, so I'm not going to dwell too much, but the strength could be gone below 275 in that particular name. Tesla. Yes, sir, on volume, guys, on significant volume, breaking out through that 706. So the answer was yes. I got out too early, right back into that 13 range. So back in that 13 to 15 range that we're talking about in the pre-market. You're going to see consolidation at that top break, that 713, all the way up to 717, which is also this low in the pre-market. If it breaks out from here, you almost have to like a 17 to 13, like risk $4 for a bit of a break, and then sort of see if you can't get it to that 725 high. But that's a heck of a lot of strength that Tesla's putting in. Oddly enough, at the exact same time, the market's rebounding and names like Tesla rebounding, and that means that usually money's coming out of something like GameStop, which is testing that low. I talked about that little iceberg at 67. It went from an iceberg to just a bunch of dark pool vacuum at 67. Either way, it couldn't break through that price. On the way back down, I'm like, I should try to get some out. I don't get any out. If it pops back up, I'll get more aggressive. But if it breaks the low of the day, I'm not hanging on to this through that low. Doesn't make any sense to me, guys. I don't plan on still being in GameStop by the time we come back to you guys. Oops. I might still be in GameStop when we do the Q&A. But I don't think I'll be in GameStop when we come back for the after-hour show at 3:15, guys. I'll likely be looking to trade it because it's in play today, but holding on to a GameStop position the entire session is something I've never done and don't actually plan to do. Usually scalp trades in and out as fast as we can. That's the same thing that goes with that final 45 minutes because we're day trading here. Got to get flat by the end of the day. Different story at this particular time. Like if I had gotten into that AMBO at that 295-ish area for the short trade, that's when I'd actually be comfortable holding through a 275 break, holding down a 250. If it maintains below VWAP, holding through the close. But that's a much different gameplay than something like a GameStop where it's going to be a tight stop. If it breaks low of the day, I'm not going short on GameStop. I'm just getting out if it breaks 163.50.
So I'm waiting here. We are finally 30 cents in the money, and I have a bid a little bit lower than this. Come on, Facebook. You can do it. We can get this 40-cent win on a third of our trade, and then we'll wait to get out of the rest. Hopefully, we can explode to the downside now. Come on. If I just got missed there, we're bidding 23s. So let's see if it resists this 25. Maybe it does. That's a bit silly to me if it does. So we'll wait to see here. You know what? Maybe I'll just cancel and get out right now because don't tell me we just missed that by a little bit there on Facebook. You know what? Let's just put a 32 bid out. If we get that, then great. Just cancel my 23s for sure. That was a nice move to the downside there for FP. It does crack through. I have no idea why I was waiting at 23 there, but that was a mistake. Or now what am I bidding? Now I'm bidding 32s. So I'm right there on the bid to try to capture that 30 cents, but now it goes right back to the upside. I was going to ring the register on Clover, but we did go long there. We talked about buying that just literally a couple minutes ago, and now it's gone up nicely. So from 33 up to 50, it's hitting that 50 level again. This could be a register ringer right here just because of this position, but our average price is 50. So we could make a little bit back here on this move, or we could wait for it to try to test view up again. You know, I'm here to trade, so we're going to do that. We're going to wait to see. I think the smart move, if you bought down here, is to get out at 50, but whatever. We will go Superman because not Superman today on Facebook, guys. I mean, it hasn't been a great day, but we do get that 30-cent win there off average 54 right there and 79. So a nice little average price, I believe, of 66. So we take a piece out now, and now we'll wait for more. My next bid is going to be down here. We need to try to make $1 as we lost $1 on some piece there. So we'll wait for a 303.50 or so. That was a spot that was a little bouncing action there last time. So 303.50. Hopefully that comes in on Facebook. As now NASDAQ, now it's trying to come back to the downside. So, hey, we're here. We're not gonna belly dance. Close your eyes. We have a new staff on set there. I just want to show her that. Please, we'll have to remove that from our thing. Valeria likes it. Valeria, really? You know what, Valeria? You know we haven't done a lot today. When Valeria is ready, let's do a likes just because right now today, although we're doing pretty good, 5,000 watching, only 1,400 likes so far. So, hey, we're going to get Valeria on camera here. I'm going to ask her what's the problem with these likes. Maybe it's just a slouchy Monday. Miss V, what's your opinion on this like situation?
Sean, I have no idea, dear viewers. Maybe we just need to ask you better. We really need your support. So take your beautiful fingers, click the like button. It will take just 1 second and will motivate us to work even better for you. Back to Sean.
There it is. So we went from thank you, Ms. V. We went from 1.4 to 1.6. I think we're going to get to 2,000. I know it's not that much, but let's give it some time, Ms. V. Give it some time. 1.7 right now. I think we get to 2,000 easily in the next 5 minutes. So thank you so much for enjoying the show, guys. And if anything, there it is. There's 1.8. So from 1.4 to 1.8, I'm not any good at math, but that's a nice little return there. We'll wait to see if we can get that. And if you can hit that, or you have already, you're like, what else can I do? Hit the share button. Let's send this out to some more trading community and see if we can get going. We have guests on. We have new CEOs on, new companies on. So it's a big show. Today it's 11:25 and we're almost done. But join us afterwards as we've been talking. Our Q&A. Ask us anything. What stock do we like for the long term? What key do we hit the most? What's Valeria's favorite artist? besides Justin Bieber? We'll get, actually, that's a good question. I'm going to ask her that. I'm asking her that live on the chat, guys. So there we go. Spoiler alert on the Justin Bieber, who performed at the Jake Paul Ben Askren ass-kicking that occurred on Saturday night.
Yeah, apparently that wasn't even a fight. I'm glad I didn't stay up for it, but sometimes people just want to get paid and not actually do any training. I suppose that's going to be a bit of the case there. There it is, 2K. That's a much better number. We like that.
There it is.
Thank you guys so much for that little support there. And of course, make sure you stick around because the Q&A is going to be coming up right after. We do have some earnings to get to in just a bit, but I want to recap. Tesla doesn't hold that range. So you like to see that consolidation. You like to see it hold 713 to 717 before you get that breakout. If it's going to come back down, I think maybe looking back towards like 705, 706, I think is going to be a good little leg to the downside there. Tesla been very, very active this morning, but GameStop just broke through the low. I just got out of it, so maybe I should have stuck to shorting the name. GameStop breaks low of the day. As the market tries to come up, the money comes out of the meme stocks. Not the first time we've seen that happen. I should have got out maybe early when I saw that rotation. Could have saved myself a buck, but I gave it to the low. It broke the low. We keep real around here. I'm out of that bad boy. I'm not out of sundial. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It's still showing a lot of weakness. Now you got to short the pop on 420 day, or at least into that 420 day. That's what happened here at that $1. I kind of feel like it's got another move in it, but that'll have to be for the afternoon. Brendan?
All right, guys, a couple minutes to go here. Keep in mind, if you haven't done so already, make sure you come on over to the members-only Q&A, starting, guys, in, wow, we have 7 minutes. Let's hurry up. Earnings coming up after market tonight and or before the open tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, my favorite, I mean, look, I'm a big Johnson & Johnson shareholder. I don't know what's going to happen with the vaccine, so we'll wait to see on that one. I think that needs to be bought on any weakness. Brendan, you remember that I bought IBM like 118, something like that, and I was wondering how crazy exactly I was, but old tech doing new world things right now, so I like IBM. Let's see where they are on that report, and then, of course, Procter & Gamble, always sort of the same old, but any names that you notice on there that we haven't talked about?
I just noticed Harley Davidson reported already, guys, so
yeah,
that's this
Get
morning.
on that hog.
I was going to say, if you could roll back time and say, okay, let's pick up some hog a little bit early. Well, you can't because hog is already up 12%. They've already reported. I mean, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble are great stocks. I don't think they're going to be necessarily gigantic movers. But you got something, Sean?
You know, I just want to explain to everybody that IBM move that I was just talking about. So yeah, okay, good. This is where I got long. This is the last earnings report in January. It just absolutely tanked into this 118 level. I'm long at 118. It's busted out since then. I think if we get another miss, we probably come back into this area in which I'll be buying more. So right now, IBM looks like a good little dip buy. If that does happen, man, this was the last earnings report. They've rejuvenated and reinvented themselves a little bit. So I like IBM. I think that this is probably worth a pickup. You know what? I believe we break out tomorrow to the upside. So if you can get a good, nice little number, watch out for 137, 138 tomorrow on IBM. Maybe worth it on some options there if it was something to wet your whistle there. I like IBM to beat. Just off of last quarter was horrible. Let's see if they've washed it up and cleaned up a little bit here. And now it goes above this 137. I like IBM.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of stocks that are actually looking like they could break out, strong chart on Abbott, so watch out for them as well. I mean, it showed a lot of strength at 125, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't look at that stupid TSP, that recent IPO, because once again, it was Puke City. It's an interesting national day, one thing that we do before we get out of here. And if you don't like this one, then, I don't know, maybe have a little fun in your life. But let's see if we can't go to Miss V, see what national day it is.
Thank you, Neil, and hey guys, thank you very much for starting this trading week with us. We will see all of you at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time to trade the close and sum up the market today. All the members are more than welcome to join our Q&A session right after this show. Guys, we'll see you soon, and happy National Amaretto Day, everyone. Do I spell it right?
Yeah, Amaretto, yeah. What's up to my paisans there? Little cherry action. You can get a Sicilian kiss, some nice little shot. Amaretto, Jack Daniels, or whatever kind of whiskey you want to mix it with there. But that's a good drink. But it's already 11:30, Neil.
Yeah, and of course, you guys, you know we're coming right back with that Q&A. So we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to go to the bathroom, grab a little coffee, do what we do, and then come right back. So if you're not a member and you want to join, you got to sign up and then ask your question early. We get a lot. We try to get as many in as possible, all for you guys as a way to give back. And, of course, right down the line to get out of here, Ms. V in the Carolina Blue. I love it. For my man, Sean Katina, for Brennan Wickens, I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. See you in 5.